The Donald is tired, absolutely sick and tired of Iran's shenanigans. Very sick and tired, actually. And he is dropping bombs wherever he goes. Tucker Carlson admits he is no longer a conservative as he endorses J.D. Vance. Very interesting, because J.D. Vance is currently making friends with a lot of Islamists. There's a lot of weird things going on. Meanwhile, multiple leftist terror attacks have taken place. Somehow, no one saw this coming at all. The shock of all shocks. And, of course, New York City, which is now basically an immigrant hellhole, is literally electing brown communists exclusively. That is the only thing they like. It's what they do, and no one is surprised, actually, about this at all. This is the least surprising update of all time. All right, I spent a lot of time in the Jew tunnels researching this one, so lock in, boys and girls. It's gonna be crazy. Okay, the Donald has decided to tweet the following. So, I have Iran on the ropes, ready to go down for the fall, willing to give us practically everything, and for the first time in decades, respecting the hell out of the United States and its president. Me and the U.S. Senate decides to have a poorly timed and meaningless War Powers Act vote. True, by the way, because he could just veto it. So essentially, the government decided they're going to come together and they're going to do a completely and utterly meaningless vote that we, the taxpayers, are paying for 2 days of wasted time so that all these old losers that hate our country could get together to do a meaningless vote that Trump is going to veto anyway. But essentially, the purpose of this vote was only really one prong. It was to tell the number one sponsor of terror in the world, all right, I'm glad Donald Trump doesn't forget who he's dealing with, that the United States doesn't like what I am doing to them, and I must stop. And by doing so, has provided aid and comfort to the enemy. 4 Republican losers voted with the Democrats. I wonder if Thomas Masshole was one of them. That's definitely interesting. Or was this the Senate or the House? Who cares? He's going to veto it regardless. And Iran asked my people, what does that all mean? These senators just made my job more difficult, but I will get it done one way or the other because I always get it done, President DJT. Literally, our government came together to hate our country so badly that they want to hand a victory to terrorists over us. Isn't that incredible? I think it is. Thanks, Cartia, for the 5,000 kicks. Very awesome. We have an insane deep dive going on. All these people are morons, and they honestly hate our country so much. Whether you agree or disagree with the war, whether you like the war, you dislike the war, if you are going to vote right now, while we are in middle of negotiations to end this deal altogether, you hate our country and you want us to die. And I'm just absolutely tired of the fact that so many people want to get their little political wins in at the cost of our nation, because I actually like our nation. Now, remember how everyone said that, oh my God, everyone is going to lose all their money. The stock market is going to fall and the oil prices are going to be insanely high. And, well, the big oil companies are not dropping their price at the pump commensurate with the sharply lower prices they're paying for oil. Those prices are dropping like a rock. In other words, customers are being gouged. I've instructed the DOJ to immediately start looking into this. Gasoline prices better start doing a lot going down a lot faster than what I am seeing. Now, the Donald actually is completely correct here. Oil prices fell below $70 a barrel, but the actual oil companies in America are artificially trying to inflate the prices. You know why? Because the entire system is rigged against the Donald. If you are paying attention, you will notice that they are specifically harming the American people so it could make it look like Donald Trump has destroyed our economy, when the reality is oil prices are down to below $70 a barrel. So first of all, everyone was wrong except for me. Everyone was wrong. We are now not only are oil prices down, but also we are the number one exporter of oil on the planet. Or understand what that means for just a second. It's insane. Gas prices by me fell from 3.6 to 3 flat. Yes, actually, Trump was right about everything. Really awkward. Now, the Donald keeps going. Iran has informed the U.S. that despite troublemaking fake news reporting to the contrary, there are no tolls, no insurance costs, no other charges of any kind being sought or received by Iran on the ships traveling the Strait of Hormuz. If this is false information, negotiations would end immediately. All right, I'm really glad that he's not a coward about it. I actually appreciate that. Additionally, no money has been given to Iran or released from their money to them by the U.S. We will be releasing some of their money, but, and this is the big twist, and it's pretty crazy, that is totally controlled by us, to our farmers and ranchers for the purchase of corn, wheat, soybeans, and more. Understand what this means. What this means is Donald Trump is telling the Iranians, We will allow you to use your own money, but only to purchase from us. And if you purchase from anyone else, we're going to bomb you. That's how it works now. Now you are our slave. But I thought slavery was bad. Not in Islam. We treat them the way they deserve to be treated. Food is desperately needed in Iran, and we will be purchasing it for them exclusively from the United States. Understand, we are using their money to buy our product. Understand how crazy that is. That's insane. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. And remember when they said that Trump is losing this war? Oh my God, these guys are fucking retarded. Now, just in, CENTCOM says senior ISIS leader Ali Hussein was killed by a precise airstrike northwest Syria. It's like we have our boys in the area. We're doing a 60-day memorandum of understanding, which is essentially some sort of peace treaty or something. It's not really. It's kind of a 60-day ceasefire where we'll decide what will happen. And while we're there, it's like, boys, just fucking kill some of these fuckers in between. All right, we gotta liberate a couple of Syrian goats. All right, and we obliterated these guys. Save the goats. Save the goats. And honestly, the U.S. military could just do all the things, actually. Nope. I'm reminding you, no boots on the ground. They were all wrong. No 10-year-long regime change war. We go in, we kill all the bad fuckers, and then we keep going. That's how it works. Just fucking awesome, actually. Crazy. Breaking, Trump says we're working on it for a national right to carry law, which is incredible. Now, you'd think that the Second Amendment does that. Unfortunately, we also have retards in government. However, this is based, incredibly based, by the way. Gun license? What is that? What is that? Do I look like a slave? I need a piece of paper to carry my constitutional firearm? Nah. We'll need it. We'll need it for when the Democrats come into power. I'm not threatening anybody. I don't want any threats to happen or anything like that. But I'm just saying these fuckers know how to start some sort of authoritarian shit. So I'm just saying I will feel a lot more comfortable if everyone was able to carry a gun. Now, JD had a colossal W to announce to the world. And this was immediately disputed by Iran.
Yesterday was a very, very good day. We made a lot of good progress. We did exactly what we wanted to do, which is accomplish 4 things for the American people. First, we wanted to build a mechanism for keeping the Strait of Hormuz open. It is open. We've seen, of course, gas prices and oil prices come down, millions and millions of barrels of crude and natural gas flowing through the Strait of Hormuz that weren't flowing before. But we also wanted to make sure that we actually set up the coordination mechanism so that we could demine the Straits of Hormuz, so that when there are the conflicts that inevitably come up, we can make sure we work through them.
I love how he's like already saying inevitably there are going to be conflicts. It's like, yeah, these are terrorist retards. We want them to die. Now, again, I have very different stances than JD Vance on this. I actually think we need to kill them. And I don't want to put boots on the ground. I just want to, listen, man, we stopped World War II we didn't put a boot on the ground in Japan. Now, I'm not advocating for nuking Iran. The Iranian people are obviously very good people, and they're oppressed. But I feel like there is a way we could operate by fucking killing terrorists. Now, a lot of people disagree with my stance, but I think killing terrorists is awesome. And I think that a lot of people are pussies.
Rather than that leading to escalation, and that is exactly what we did.
We'll see. We'll give you 60 days, JD. Get us all the things we want in 60 days, otherwise they die. All right, I could live with that.
Yesterday. Number 2, we also wanted to build a mechanism, a similar mechanism, for deconfliction for the regional ceasefire. As the President of the United States has himself said, sometimes these ceasefires just mean you're shooting a little bit less, but we wanted to make sure that we had the proper coordination set up so that if there is shooting, if Hezbollah fires at Israel, or if Israel responds, if there are other conflicts that arise in the region, we're actually talking to each other and figuring out how to stop the shooting, to make the region safer, our allies, and everybody else.
Again, I think that this is a slightly naive perspective on life in general. I don't want to be that guy. But I don't really believe in negotiating with terrorists. I actually think they need to die. I know, I'm a radical. I want to kill terrorists that are trying to kill us. When I heard him say we love Pakistan, I was like, no, dude, no.
We set that up as well. Number 3, and this is probably what we're most excited about as Americans, the Iranians have agreed to invite
Here we go. This is the big one.
IAEA inspectors back into their country. That is a major milestone for the American people, and the first step in permanently denuclearizing or permanently ending a nuclear weapons program in Iran.
And let me remind you, that was kind of always the goal of the war. The reason why Trump did this is because he said they had 60% enriched uranium. Their military was weakened because of Israel's attacks 10 months ago. So now's a really good time to go in there, obliterate their Navy, obliterate their Air Force, obliterate their missile shit, basically push them to the absolute fucking end, and now you are going to be walking in all sorts of inspectors to inspect all your uranium forever, and I think that's basically the main reason why we did all this. Now, I personally think that once we're doing this, we should kill them, but anyway, that's huge that they agree to actually do this. Now, an interesting concept, the Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesperson contradicts Vice President Vance and says that's not true. Yes. But the translation is Iran has no plans to allow IAEA inspectors to enter nuclear sites that were damaged during the war. And that's like, what? So again, understand what is going on in Iran. In Iran, currently, the actual regime is mega fractured. It is completely destroyed and eviscerated. No one knows who's in charge. They can't even communicate with each other. They're absolutely terrified that Israel is going to fucking blow them up or something. So as it stands right now, the fucking retards over there that lie as they breathe in between thrusting into goats' assholes, they just sit there and talk about how actually they're terrorists. They're actually terrorists. So they're trying to be catty. They lost the war miserably, but they're seeing what the Senate is doing, trying to get Trump to stop the war. They see Trump is trying to make some sort of peace deal, and they're feeling themselves. So now all of a sudden, you have some people agreeing. You have publicly they're disagreeing because they want to look strong, and it's pretty incredible. Now, the Donald ended the debate. He absolutely ended this whole discussion. JD says where they're getting an IAEA. They denied it. Then they asked the Donald about it, and he ended it.
Visit for the IAEA inspectors. Is that part of your agreement?
They're wrong. They're wrong. They know they're wrong. They told us inside, and we have it down 100% inspections. And if they were right, I'd cancel the meetings right now.
That's right. They're wrong. They said that we're not going to let you in. They're wrong. They're wrong. And if they're right, then we kill all of them. That's my guy. That's how you deal with these people. You don't suck up to them. You obliterate and humiliate them.
When will those, from your view, Mr. President, when will those inspectors actually be on the ground?
At the appropriate time. At the appropriate time.
That's a nice way to not answer. Anyway, the Donald does remember who we're dealing with, and he decided to drop a little music video.
Since 1979, the clock's been ticking. Iran has killed Americans every year for 47 years.
160 dead.
Hostage has been killed.
180 attacks from Iran on Americans.
Past presidents appeased Iran.
$1.7 billion in cash to Iran.
Refused to enforce sanctions.
While Iran pursued nuclear weapons.
Could make 11 nuclear bombs.
Missiles that could soon reach the American homeland.
Imminent production of a nuclear weapon.
Too close for comfort.
When will Iran have a nuclear weapon?
Never. Never.
Never.
That's right, baby.
Thank you, President Trump.
That's right. Never. Never. That's right. Yeah, anyway, the Donald remembers exactly what we're dealing with. And that's why when I see a lot of people basically kind of losing faith that the Donald remembers, and he's like, no, we shouldn't. Yeah, this is an epic music video. It's not like what the Houthis do. This is actually just powerful as shit. It's like, we remember you. We remember what you did. We are not caving. Actually, we're going to kill you. Or you're going to give us all the things. So the Donald has been dropping bomb after bomb.
We have Iran in a position that nobody's ever had. This should have been done for 47 years by other presidents. And we have Iran in a position where their military has been totally wiped out. Their leadership has been wiped out. Their radar has been wiped out. Everything's been wiped out. They have not a good negotiating position.
That's right. Donald Trump is going to kill you. We're getting all the things we want. I hope you understand. We are getting all the things we want, period. Now we can do it the easy way or the hard way.
Despite that, and money that will be taken out of Iran is going to go to our farmers to give corn, soybeans, wheat to Iran because...
That's right. We are going to use your money to purchase our products. You're welcome. That's just how it's going to work. Actually, all the things are going to happen.
Yesterday we had 19 barrels of oil, 19 million barrels of oil come off, and that's the biggest in the history of the Strait, the Hormuz Strait. Our stock market is through the roof, and oil prices are tumbling. We actually hit...
Remember when every single retarded commentator on the planet decided to show up and scream and yell and cry and scream again and yell and cry a little bit more about how the stock market was going to crash? Everyone's going to lose all our money. It's going to be a Great Depression. It's so over. We're so cooked. Remember when everyone was crying and screaming about that and literally none of it happened, just like I predicted?
For a moment today, in fact, I think it's going to break at $70 a barrel. That's lower than we were when we started.
Bro.
And it's been amazing. And the big thing is Iran will not have a nuclear weapon.
Yeah, so obviously very good that they don't have nukes, obviously. Also very good that literally we are going to be getting lower prices now than we've had before. But there is another thing that not enough people are understanding. We have also rerouted the entire oil market. By toppling Venezuela and crippling Iran, China made a huge deal with us that we are currently the #1 oil exporter on the planet. All right, this has been a gigabrain move. We do not want China to control the Middle East at all, actually. So this is just massive. We actually kind of have China by the balls. It's insane that this keeps happening. It really is, and everyone's crying about it. Now, Rubio, he does understand what we're dealing with. I've heard him talk at great length about Islamic doctrine and this Islamic regime specifically. Unlike Vance, who really seems very keen to appease these guys, it's pretty incredible. Rubio's been kind of right about everything.
The allies here in the region.
Well, that most certainly will come up in these conversations. And there are items outside the MOU that are certainly going to be covered, but that's one that will have to be covered. It'll be discussed. I think a careful reading of the MOU will see that when you talk about, for example, a complete and end of hostilities in the entire region, well, that's not possible. You can't have the end of hostilities and conflicts in the region as long as Iranian proxies are launching missiles and drones from Iraq.
That's right. What do you mean? You want peace? Except, little asterisk, you want peace except for you're going to keep having your terrorist organizations in Iraq and in Lebanon? Nope, that's not going to happen.
And are participating in terrorism like Hamas did and like Hezbollah did.
Yeah, fuck those guys.
I do think it's covered by the MOU. And it is an issue that will be gotten to at the appropriate time in these negotiations.
Let me ask you about Hormuz.
That's right. Actually, as long as Hezbollah and Hamas and all these other fucking Iranian-funded terrorist organizations are still around doing their bullshit, that doesn't sound like a ceasefire. That doesn't sound like they've submitted. It's insane how, like, on point Rubio is about all of these things. Like, he really understands what we're dealing with. Right? As long as Iranian proxies are launching missiles and drones from Iraq and participating in terrorism, well, then they aren't really doing peace, are they? They're really trying to find some sort of way that they can continue doing terrorism, but making believe that they are peaceful now because, the terrorists, they're just proxies. We don't do that. Anyway, the Donald keeps cooking.
Remember this. We had to make this detour. We had to go to Iran. You can't let them blow up the Middle East and then us, if that's possible. We would have gotten them before, but they would have blown up Israel. They would have blown up the entire Middle East. You can't let that. You want to see a bad economy? That's a bad economy. So, but remember that our oil in the middle of this conflict was less than it was for sleepy Joe Biden.
Think about that. Think about that. We were paying more for gas under Biden than the high point of gas under Trump. And also now we also obliterated a terrorist regime that was threatening to nuke us. You cannot make this up. Like, anyone that's making believe they don't understand how colossal of a W this is insane.
Out of fire. Biden, Clinton, Bush, all of them. Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him? Have you heard of Barack Hussein?
Yeah, I heard of that guy.
None of them did anything.
What a retard.
Obama gave them $1.7 billion in green cash. Remember, on a 747, they flew over piles of cash. $1.7 billion. Gave them hundreds of billions of dollars. And thought they could bribe them into peace. No, the only thing they understand is what these guys in the front row understand.
That's right.
Is the hammer. Because
they only
if you look
understand
at-
the hammer.
If you look at what we did to their nuclear capacity.
Does
with-
this sound like a man who's capitulating and trying his best to get a peace deal? Or does this sound like the guy who won a war and the other guys want a peace deal, but they're still pounding their chest in public to not humiliate themselves because essentially they're dealing with 85 IQ subtards that just like to see them roar and they don't actually have some sort of intellectual capability?
With those beautiful B-2 bombers,
Beautiful.
that was truly a hammer.
Truly.
In fact, we named it a hammer operation.
One of the hammers of all time. Now, Rubio actually kept cooking, believe it or not. All right, they keep trying to, like, tear the Republican Party apart. And I think Israel is ultimately the wedge that they're trying to use because they see all, like, the conspiracy theories. And they're really, really trying to push the Israel as some sort of wedge here.
Do you believe, as some elements of U.S. intelligence have assessed, that Israel is interested in undermining the current MOU?
I don't know what intelligence are you talking about?
All right, intelligence nebulously is saying that Israel is trying to destroy us. Do you have any, what intelligence are you talking about?
It's been reported.
I don't know, it's been reported.
Being reported, then it's fake.
Do you believe that to be true?
I don't know where you're getting that stuff from. We're working on this. The Israelis are exactly know what we're working on. All of our partners in the region know what we're working on. Everybody understands what the president's red lines and positions are on this. I don't know what reports you're referencing.
Yeah, so anyway, that's how the reporters try to basically destroy us, because obviously the media is a weapon of the left. Now, interestingly enough, the actual president of Lebanon had a crazy thing to say. All right, this is the Lebanese president releasing a message to Iran.
It's not your country, it's our country. It's our obligation. It's not your job to interfere into our country. I reject this statement totally, because our people being killed, our houses being destroyed. They are using Lebanon as a bargaining chip in their negotiation with the United States. It's unacceptable. And here also, Hezbollah must understand that. Hezbollah must understand that no other way but to sit and talk. No other way to solve this problem.
So here you have Trump basically saying, fuck Hezbollah. Here you have the Lebanese president saying, fuck Hezbollah. Here you have Israel saying, fuck Hezbollah. You got the United Arab Emirates saying, fuck Hezbollah. You got Iran being like, actually, we will not make a peace deal unless our terrorists continue killing Jews. And here you got the retarded leftists in America being like, wow, I can't believe Israel is attacking Hezbollah. Wow! It's crazy. It's actual insanity watching actual commentary. Tucker Carlson also doing the same thing. Speaking of, Tucker Carlson recently came out saying that he will no longer be a Republican.
I would not support the Republican Party. There's no chance I would support the Republican Party.
All right, pretty insane. All right, now I believe in make Lebanon Christian again. Actually, it used to be majority Christian until Christians got massacred by Hezbollah. All right, so Tucker's like, I am no longer a Republican. All right, this big announcement from Tucker. You'd love to see it. Now I'm gonna explain to you what's actually going on in a minute. But yeah, so that's what he has to say. But interestingly enough, then they ask him about J.D. Vance.
At this point,
what's your take on J.D. Vance? Do you think he is still America first? Because I know you were friends.
I love J.D. Vance.
You do.
I know. Yeah, I know J.D. so well, and Vice President Vance, and I've known him since long before he got into politics, and I know his family well, and my wife knows. I mean, I think of him as a.
We love him. We love him. J.D. Vance, chosen by God. Yeah, that's not good. That's actually not very good, actually. So he announces he's leaving the Republican Party, except J.D. Vance, the Vice President of the United States, duh. All right, he loves J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance, the one guy in the Republican Party that's actually trying to appease the Islamists in the Middle East. Isn't that weird? Again, I'm just saying it's a little bit weird. He hates Republicans, but JD, he loves JD. All right, you have to understand what the strategy is. The strategy here is him making believe he hates the Republican Party, and then backing Vance in 2028 to be like an epic alternative to basically trick all the retards. All right, he's jingling his fucking keys. All right, he's giving goynip to the retard. to the retards to be like, actually, this is totally different now. It's a whole new Republican Party under Vance. You know, the vice president. Right? Understand what's going on. Now, interestingly enough, the same thing happens again. He goes on Alex Jones. He repeats the same talking points. He's leaving the Republican Party. He's so done.
Well, will you support J.D. Vance? I think he's great compared to Rubio. obviously he's great compared to Rubio. Obviously, look, I'll support the best person. I always have liked JD Vance enormously. I think he's really smart. He's in an impossible situation. I think he's doing his best.
Wow.
I strongly disapprove of, obviously, as I've said 100 times, of this war and of what.
Oh, I love how Trump and others.
Wow, I love JD Vance. I'm leaving the Republican Party. I am totally done with the Republican Party. I love JD Vance. Alex is wrong. Look, man, Alex wanted Trump to get impeached, and Tucker Carlson called Trump the Antichrist. I actually don't give a shit about their opinions in regards to Trump. I don't want to be that guy, but I think this is retarded. I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to be that dude. Now, speaking of Tucker Carlson, just to basically an extra nail in the coffin, the final nail in the coffin, if you ask me. Aside from being molested by a demon or whatever he talks about, they hate Rubio. Yeah, they hate Rubio because he doesn't like Islam. Isn't that weird? Isn't it weird that Tucker Carlson doesn't like Islam? So Tucker Carlson decided he wanted to have a theologian, right? Yeah, a theologian, J.D. Hall. He likes people named J.D. And here they discussed the Ottoman Empire.
And their Muslim rulers didn't do that during the Ottoman period.
Okay, so the answer is no. The Muslim rulers didn't tax churches during the Ottoman period. They were very kind to Christians.
What? Oh, what? We have Tucker Carlson, a Christian, his platform being pushed that actually the Ottomans loved the Christians? Are you go preach that in the Hagia Sophia Mosque? Okay, are you serious?
Matter of fact, they took care of our holy sites. They had rebuilt.
What is this Islam simpery, bro?
Islamic authorities rebuilt the Church of the Sepulchre 3 different times over the centuries. They had a law protecting Christian pilgrims on their journey. Like nobody messed with the.
They took slaves. They massacred Christians. They took slaves. They raped their women. And the ones that they left alive, they forced them to pay blood tax. Like, what are we doing?
Ottoman Turks, the Muslim rulers of the Holy Land, rebuilt the Church of the Holy Sepulchre 3 times.
3 times, yeah. Either
and this is what he does, and he goes there and he brings on these fuckers, and then these fuckers like basically rewrite history, and he's like, oh, that's so fascinating. Whoa, I never knew that. That's brilliant.
Completely rebuilt it, or a major renovation. One time it caught on fire, and they redid the roof. But if you've seen the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, you can imagine what it took.
Well, anyway, W Israel for rebuilding the Holy Sepulchre after Iran literally bombed the Church of the Holy Sepulchre during this war, by the way. Interesting. Now, we have reached the Muslims were actually very kind to Christians stage, all right? This guy is a fucking shill. He is a paid Islamist shill. It's insane. During the Ottoman occupation, Turks flayed Christians alive like this, okay? What are we doing? And Abraham Lincoln was black. What are we doing? Now, Clash Report is the site that keeps pushing him over here. Interestingly enough, Clash Report is a Turkish media outlet. So the Turkish media and the Russian media are working together to push this guy who loves the mass immigration to shred our country. All right, now, Tucker Carlson, notice, he never talks about the Save America Act. He never talks about the fact that we just had communists winning elections all over the place, trying to fight that shit. Notice he never pushes against any of that. Isn't that weird? That's pretty weird, right? I feel like that's pretty weird. Now, hey, Ad Grok, what were the Crusades and why were they necessary? Well, you see, the Crusades were a series of defensive military campaigns by Western Christians to retake the Holy Land and aid Eastern Christians after 400 plus years of Islamic conquest that overran Christian territories, the Middle East, North Africa, Spain, and Sicily. Wow. It sounds to me like the Ottoman Empire was not super nice, actually, to the Christians. Oh my god, dude. Never forget the Ottomans used Christian firstborns to create slave armies. Yeah, I know that. They were called Janissaries, I believe. They literally made slave armies of Christians that they would just basically... It's unbelievable atrocities. Unbelievable atrocities. All right, now, JD Vance, his best friend, is the one that he supports now. He supports JD Vance, but he left the Republican Party, but he supports JD Vance.
That's right. Today's special reader is my husband, Vice President of the United States, JD Vance. Thanks for joining us today, honey.
Of course. Good to see you.
I have never seen anyone tap their wife like that in my entire life. I'm just saying that is the biggest red flag of all. That's an even bigger red flag than being supported by Tucker Carlson. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, that shit was creepy as Anyway, we got crazy situations going on with the commies. Commie situation is insane. Definitely. If you're not paying attention to what's going on with the commies, you are not living in America. So Secretary Marcus Rubio, first of his name, dropped the nuke. The situation in Cuba is devolving as the island's corrupt, brutal, and anti-American communist regime continues to prioritize its own total control over freedom, opportunity, and basic well-being of the Cuban people. That's because communism sucks, actually. The Cuban military controlled conglomerate Yesa and persistently served as the main vector for regime elites to steal the island's few resources, diverting them for the repression, anti-American subversion, and spying instead of schools, power plants, and basic necessities for the Cuban people. That's because communism never actually works. Communism cannot work. Inherently, it is flawed and it fails and it puts retards on top, and the retards take the money and use it for their own shit every single time. There is no example of communism ever working because the system is inherently flawed. It's almost like when God said, "Thou shalt not steal," and that personal property is real. It's almost like God was right, actually. No one saw this coming. The twist of all twists. Today, I designate additional Gesa network entities being moving with money, physical assets, as well as entities responsible for exploiting Cuba's mineral and metal reserves for ill-gotten profit. Anyone providing services to these sanctioned actors at risk of being sanctioned themselves. Foreign banks and other companies provide services to these entities should freeze those activities immediately. Our foreign policy under the Trump administration, I think, largely headed by Rubio, has been insanely good. We managed to topple Maduro. We've closed the border. We've basically crippled every communist regime ever. Colombia is now a pro-American government, finally. Just understand what that means. And Trump tweeted, "America the Beautiful will never be a communist country." Now, the reason why all this is going on is because every single person in Latin America, now that USAID is shut down, is electing capitalists. Every single one of them. Now, you probably wonder, are the retards stupid enough to still try communism today? Well, we all know the answer. There is no low the retards will not stoop to, especially if the voter base is third world, inbred, 80 IQ, dumb fucks. Yes, actually, Zoran Mamdani preaching how ICE should be abolished because he actually wants to import infinite fucking retarded people so that they can vote for his bullshit every time. And he's decided on the policy of, we will simply tax the whites and give it to the browns.
Their mayor, I firmly believe that ICE should be abolished, that we should have an answer to the question of immigration with humanity at the heart of it, and that I will not sit here alongside you and proclaim that the only way to...
That's right. We will bring in foreigners so that they could vote to stop us from stopping foreigners from coming into our country. And it's like, what? What? You mean to tell me that all of a sudden our country is full of retarded people that's voting for retarded policies to basically steal money from white people? That's crazy. No one saw this coming. Now, meet Ahmed Wishah, an Al Jazeera journalist who got a very, very touching goodbye from Zoran Mamdani.
Even an Al Jazeera journalist, Ahmed Wishah, was killed this past Saturday by
Where?
an Israeli strike.
He's talking about fucking Palestine, bro. Free Palpatine, please. Someone free Palpatine. Bro, are we serious? Mayor of New York is giving glowing eulogies for Hamas terrorists. Who he calls them journalists, though. But anyway, this is the guy that's the journalist.
This past Saturday by an Israeli strike.
Journalist. Oh, but he wore a press vest while he was raping children, so I guess that makes him okay. Journalism, boys. Yeah. That's him. He's in all the pictures. Wow. Yeah, so anyway, we get the idea. Very, very journalisty. Very journalisty. So, yeah, no one saw this one coming. No one saw this coming at all. So, obviously, the entire leftist movement in New York is captured by Free Palpatine. All right, I always told you the Palestine argument has always been a low IQ movement to radicalize immigrant retards from third world countries who hate our nation and hate our society to control us and manipulate us. And you know who fell for it? The liberal white women. They were emotionally manipulated, and here we are. Here we are. So Zoran Mamdani addresses Dan Goldman's cafe incident. I'll show you what that is, of course.
Can I also ask on something else? What happened with Dan Goldman at Poetica Cafe yesterday? What do you think about what transpired there? Do you think it's a kind of okay way for someone to express political disagreements with his views on Israel?
I have many a political disagreement with Congressman Goldman when it comes to his votes and his views on Israel. I think that what we saw online goes beyond.
Yeah, so understand what's going on. Dan Goldman's a Jew, I guess. Goldman is the most Jewish name of all time, I suppose. And it's like, oh, a Jew got harassed. Well, he supports Israel, I guess. I guess we have to do that. Understand, this is Congressman Dan Goldman getting vandalized every single day by the fucking retards in New York. Again, I think liberal Jews are one of the most dangerous forces for evil in the nation. So, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say that I like this guy or anything. But yeah, no, this is weird. New York City coffee shop bans all pro-Israel politicians, it seems. A nasty post, despite promise to treat all customers with unconditional dignity. All right, again, this obviously violates the civil rights laws. Again, I think civil rights laws are kind of cringe in general. Like, I do not believe that a bakery should need to pay cakes for gay people or whatever. But again, this is from the left. The left are the civil rights jihadis. The ones that's like, actually, you must grovel before fentanyl Floyd in order for us to appreciate you. Right? And these retards actually don't believe in civil rights when it comes down to their third world movement of fighting for Palpatine across the world. All right. So anyway, the Muslim Brotherhood won in New York tonight. America and the Democrat Party lost. What could this possibly mean? 3 out of 3 Mamdani-backed candidates won their Democrat primaries tonight. Face it, it's his party now. And you want to know the truth? The truth is, it is. This is actually correct. Because it turns out the Democrat Party is pandering to left-wing, third-world Islamic terrorism, and that is where their votes are coming from. Why do you think they hate ICE? Why do you think they hate borders? Because they want to flood our country with low-IQ retards, and the low-IQ retards, they fucking come in, and they show, and they vote for communism to take money from the oppressive poor people that actually work for a living, and give it to the retarded inbred 60 IQ lip shit, and that's it. That's the story. That is left-wing politics right now. I hope you're aware of how it works. Now, interesting stats. Remember how New Yorkers voted. All right. Remember, Mamdani came in second place for American-born New Yorkers, but he came in a landslide first place by foreign-born New Yorkers. Elections are being decided based on the retarded inbreds that are getting imported into the country because they're voting for the guy that wants to take money from the whites and give it to the inbreds. And that is exactly what we're dealing with. That is absolute fucking bullshit, obviously. All right, now I'm going to introduce you to these candidates that just won. All right, these are the candidates that Mamdani endorsed. This is going to be huge. So Aber Kawas, this is one of them. This is now a congresswoman in America, in New York. Understand exactly what the Islamic takeover is. We are turning New York into Londonistan every day.
And so, like, and finding that, like, you know, the system of capitalism and racism and white supremacy, etc., have all, and Islamophobia have all been used, you know, to colonize lands, right? To take resources from other.
Again, this is coming from a Muslim, the biggest colonizer religion in the history of the world.
People, and so this is like a long trajectory, and we're just seeing the manifestations of that continuation, right? With 9/11, and so a lot of times when people are asking the manifestation 9/11, and so a lot of times when we're continuation, right, with 9/11.
So 9/11 was America's fault for Islamophobia. You understand? Do you understand what we're dealing with? She is now a congresswoman. Isn't that incredible? Isn't that awesome? Isn't that great? Pay fucking attention, please, for a second. Yes, it's totally America's fault that Muslims decided to blow up fucking thousands of people because America was Islamophobic to Muslims.
And so a lot of times when people are asking us to...
I see someone in my chat saying she's retarded. She's not retarded. She's conquering our country. She's playing on the retards, but she is literally conquering our nation as we speak. Just understand, all right? She is, with her 85 IQ, inbred ass, conquering our country.
Respond about, you know, attack, right? When, if you look back, like, historically, right, you know, a lot of us come from lands that were colonized, lands where... Too
bad. The fact that hundreds of years ago, white people made your countries better through colonization does not at all in any way mean that we need to import 1 billion cannibals into our country. I'm sorry, that's not how it works.
Wars are being waged, right? A lot of times because of U.S. policy or the policies.
Right, U.S. policy is why Muslims just had to fucking fly planes into buildings.
Europe, and so... Yep. I find that we can connect over that, but then also that the idea that we have to apologize for like a terror attack that like a couple
why should I apologize when Muslims do terror attacks?
people did, and then there is no apologies or reparations for genocide.
Oh, there should be reparations. We need to do reparations that we start wars after they do terrorism and stuff. And we win, obviously, because they're fucking camel fuckers. All right, and then we win. Whoa, we won a war against fucking retards. And it's like, and now we have to apologize. Well, I guess you gotta blow up a couple of our buildings now. That's just how it works. She's a congresswoman now. A congresswoman that absolutely hates America. Isn't that incredible? Isn't it amazing that this is the Democrat Party? That Brandon Gill says the Democrat terrorist caucus is growing fast. Incredible. Breaking. Radicals left candidate took out leftist dork Dan Goldman. So Dan Goldman, complete fucking retard. I'm not going to defend this guy. He was a libtard. Lost to Lander, a radical pro-Hamas fucker who wrote an entire book, I think, called Fuck Kamala Harris because she wasn't leftist enough. Isn't that amazing? Introducing the third candidate that just won her election, Darializa Avila Chevalier. Get a load of this one.
I know that we all deserve a representative who isn't bought by AIPAC.
AIPAC, that's right. Oh, remember AIPAC? Remember how AIPAC is supposedly stealing elections and Jews are controlling the government? Why did the Jews let all these fucking terrorists win their elections? Holy shit, Thomas Massey, you must have been a really bad candidate.
I'm also the only Muslim in my family. I reverted 3 years ago.
Sign of low IQ.
Actually, the friend who pushed me to do it asked me, why have you fasted for 4 years and yet you haven't taken your shahada? She's here today, and when she asked me that, I thought, that is a great question. And I thought for myself why I hadn't taken the step yet. But it was seeing how all of my friends...
Yeah, she has a mental illness. We're going to open up asylums one day. It's going to be awesome. We're going to open up asylums, and people are going to go and say, all right, so what does he have? Oh, schizophrenia. Oh, what does he have? Islam.
Who were showing up to organizing, who are Muslim, were showing up in the space, and the grace and love and passion that they had in these spaces of social justice, that really pushed me to join the faith. And wanting to
yeah. Islam is known for its social justice.
Make sure that we are reflecting that I'm reflecting that in every space that I'm in, and
every
that,
space.
Inshallah, if we make it to Congress, that we're reflecting that in the halls of power as well. I know that we all deserve...
Isn't that beautiful? We need to bring Islam into literally fucking everywhere. The halls of power. It's actually conquest. They're actually just colonizing us, except they're colonizing us because we're too nice to actually do something about it. That's insane. So Aber Kawas actually won her election, as you can see. Pretty incredible. Palestine was on the ballot. Why the fuck was Palestine on the ballot in a congressional election in New York? Huh? Now, this is Kaber Awas, the one who just won her election.
Immigrants that are living in fear of ICE every single day.
Good! They should be living in fear. Maybe they should self-deport.
What can we do to resist this? We are calling...
You can't resist the law in America. I mean, technically you can, but you will probably die or go to jail. They'll Renee Good your ass.
For abolishing ICE and agents who are...
Again, isn't it weird? Isn't it weird how all these Frogan-looking motherfuckers show up in our fucking country? They end up in like these little ethnic enclaves. They all elect these fucking retards, and then the retards want to destroy our enforcement of borders so that they can flood us with more retards.
Who live to exceptionalize who gets to be part of this country.
Yeah, we have a law, and we have a country, and we have borders, actually. So, yes. Then we have people that enforce that law, like ICE, specifically. So, yeah, there are laws to who can become part of this country. I love how she feels like she is the one to decide who becomes part of America. Her, Aber Kawas.
My parents were both undocumented.
Deport?
And I remember my parents...
So, understand, we have a woman who was born in America because her parents were illegal aliens that managed to plop a baby out on our soil, and now she is a leader. She is a leader elected by the retard establishment. Building Better website. Thanks for the 5 subs. Do you understand how this is working? Wow. Wow. Incredible stuff. Really, dude, it's incredible.
Speaking about what to do. Should they leave the country?
Yeah, no, they should get deported. They should maybe go to El Salvador prison or something. Anyway, introducing the next one. All right. So I'm going back and forth a little bit. You have to understand. I can't show you too much of one at the same time. So New York City just sent an unemployed 32-year-old to Congress who was recently camping on college campuses in New York City asking for basic humanitarian aid.
The university continues to make these threats. They're well aware of what the threats are, but they're determined, they're resolute, and for a lot of them, they see this as a very small price to pay for ending the violence that Palestinians are experiencing day in and day out. Not
Palestinians. Again, Palestine is the ultimate Trojan horse. All right, these retards in Palestine started a war miserably, raping and killing people, and then they lost the war really badly, and now they have used that as some sort of social toxin to manipulate people to vote for these empathetic retards, and they hate us. All right, anyway, this is the same Darlie Aliza lady.
I make this video, but there is hatred brewing against me that I cannot say something.
No, there's hatred brewing against me. All I want to do is destroy the nation. All I want to do is destroy the country, and now they hate me for it. Now, understand exactly what we're dealing with. This is that same lady who is now a congresswoman, black men shaking hands with Arab men, fetishizing ugly colonizer women. All right, but they're anti-racist, by the way. All right, now she just won her election.
So are we ready to free Palestine?
Again, she ran for a congressional district in New York, okay? But this was the campaign.
Are we ready to abolish ICE? Are we ready to win Medicare for all, housing for all, and unions for all?
All right, so they're going to take money from people that earn it. They're going to stop border enforcement so they can bring in more retards to keep these retards in power. And they also are going to free Palestine somehow. Isn't that incredible?
I know that's right.
Isn't that incredible? I think it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. So, of course, Ro Khanna, anti-American filth, who's worth $430 million, allegedly because of insider trading, says, "Congratulations, terrorists, for your stunning upset and for standing against Gaza." Are we serious, bro? What are we doing? Congratulations. You fought against Gaza. Now you were a congresswoman in New York. Holy shit, dude. Oh, my God. Now, again, Ro Khanna is celebrating this lady for winning, who said the following: "I forgot to get napkins, so I just wiped my hand on the American flag behind me." They openly hate our country. Openly. Without any form of exaggeration. Their goal is the destruction of our nation as they get elected. Isn't that crazy? All right, this is the same person, all right? I forgot to get napkins, so I wiped my hand on the flag behind me. That's her. That's her, boys. That's what we got. Congratulations. This is your next congresswoman. Margbar America, which means death to America in Persian. This person, this apartheid divest freak, all right, that's going out there. "We are Westerners fighting for the total eradication of Western civilization." That's what they say themselves. They say this themselves, bro. That literally, they say it themselves. Isn't that crazy? "We see community and instructions for the militants and the global youth." Yeah, we got it. You're in the global south. Very cool. Love that. Love that. This is, by the way, an actual politician that won her election because we imported so many retards. So many retards. A lot of retards. We imported all the retards. Isn't that crazy? I think it's crazy. We imported all the retards, and now they're electing retards. Now we have to live with that, I guess. Ilhan Omar celebrates that terrorists are winning elections. Alhamdulillah! I can't believe the experiencing the thing. Oh, my fucking God! They all gotta go! They gotta go. Death to America. Deported. No, I want to stay. Please, please, don't deport me. No, I want to stay. How can you do this to me? I don't know. I got deported. Isn't that crazy? I think it is. New Yorkers chose to vote themselves into communism 2 days after Colombians chose to vote themselves out of communism. True. Now, Speaker Johnson actually talks about this because the Democratic Party is literally just terrorists now.
You saw the result of this latest, these primary elections for the Democrat Party. The headlines this morning say it all. I've got a collection of them here. "Socialist earthquake," one of them said. "Mamdani candidates sweep New York House races." These are socialists. These are Marxist in their ideology. Next headline: "Mamdani hails new chapter for Democrats," one of the Chiron said this morning on the news. Hakeem Jeffries, my counterpart, the Democrat leader here in the House, was booed at some of these return parties last night. Saw that on social media and some of the clips. When he was being interviewed on the screen, the crowds in New York, in his own backyard, in the Bronx, in one of these districts, were booing him. And they shouted, "You're next." Hakeem Jeffries has a tall task ahead of him right now. He's got to go out and somehow make a credible pitch to Democrat establishment donors that that's a good national investment right now. That's a tough one to make. He has just proven that he cannot even hold the line in his own backyard.
True.
How can he possibly defend against the Marxist march around the country in these other districts?
He can't.
This is not your father's Democrat Party, as we see all the time.
True.
Last night,
the entire this is not JFK's Democrat Party. So the entire Democrat Party, basically, since their entire ideology just became fuck Trump, and they didn't actually have an ideology, the actual terrorists that they do have an ideology. I mean, here we have the Democrat Party making believe America's awful because America, they elected fucking Hitler, Trump. They elected a Hitler, so obviously they're horrible. And now you have all these people being like, wow, America is really horrible, huh? America's really horrible. Guess we're going to vote for anti-American jihadist filth because America is so bad. The Democrats said it themselves. Yup. Democrats now prefer socialism over capitalism. In 2010, it was about a 50-50 split between socialism and capitalism on the left. Now it is a 66 to 42. I don't know how that fucking works. But yeah, split in regards to socialism versus capitalism. They're actually just a socialist party now. So Zoran Mamdani and his group of leftists, they had a nice celebration after they won these elections because obviously they have retarded people voting for them.
I have stood next to Daria Lisa and I have said, our next congresswoman. And I've said these words in the way that many of us will say, inshallah.
Inshallah, they're winning elections. Like, bro, it's so obvious what's happening.
In the beginning, we hope, but we don't know how close it is. I have stood next to Daria Lisa. And
yeah, that's what we're dealing with. Inshallah. Inshallah, baby. Inshallah. Pretty crazy stuff, I would say. Pretty crazy stuff, I would say. But don't worry, it gets worse. So Hassan Piker, of course, celebrating, obviously, that retards are winning elections.
I wish they'd stop calling me a terrorist.
I wish they'd stop calling me a terrorist.
That's what I wish. I wish they'd stop calling me a radical. None of these people are radical.
They're all radical. And they're all going to get deported.
They just want healthcare. They want to end American militarism. They want to spend money on roads, on infrastructure, on schooling.
I'm not a radical. I just want healthcare.
On healthcare,
Healthcare. I'm not a radical. I only support terrorism, hate America, and want Americans to get murdered. But all I really want is healthcare. I only want healthcare. Anyway, he keeps going, obviously.
Richie Torres. Richie Torres, I know you won tonight. I didn't even look at your race. You probably
Bro is so fucking shit-faced, it's crazy.
won, you piece of shit. Remember,
Richie Torres won his election.
I was coming for you, but you got lucky this time. But I'll see you in 2. I'll see you in 2, motherfucker. I know you stopped talking shit. I know you stopped talking about Israel, Richie Torres.
Stop talking about Israel. Israel. That's right. You talk about Israel, you lose elections. Bro, this is literally the ultimate psyop to destroy our nation. Trick people into this fucking bullshit.
What happened? I'll see you in 2 years, motherfucker. Just wait.
Yeah, so just get ready. The Democrat Party used to be just incompetent retards that hate America, and now they are terrorists. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that great? That's so good. Anyway, Hassan Piker, someone who claims to care about social needs and healthcare and stuff, this is him talking about why he does not talking about the rape gangs in England.
I hate to break it to you guys, but regular people are getting tired of liberal policies. GOP will gain traction today. Brother, are you tuning in from an alternative universe? Are you tuning in from an alternative universe? Why won't you go over the Rupert Love report? Because there's more important things going on than...
That's right. There are a lot more important things going on than Pakistani Muslims raping 250,000 British children. There are some more important things. Like, let's talk about Israel. I don't think I've ever heard Hassan address the Israel situation.
Hashing 2013 era racialized scandals.
Oh, it's just a racialized scandal that 95% of the grooming games are Pakistani that are raping children.
Okay, buddy? Because I'm an American.
I'm an American, which is why I only talk about Israel. Hassan Piker, ladies and gentlemen. That's our guy. That's our dude.
I'm an American.
I think he just loves rape. That's my hot take.
Okay? I'm an American currently working on American elections. Why are you, most likely a fucking Euroid fascist who LARPs as a MAGA supporter, coming in here to be like, why won't you talk about the Rupert Love report? Because I'm not a fucking idiot, okay? Because I'm not a goddamn moron.
I think it's because he likes rape. But that's my take. Again, the truth of the matter is, I I'm considered Islamophobic for speaking out against rape. So, you know, obviously we don't get along. Now, Matt Walsh tweeted, third world communists are the enemy. They've taken over our greatest American city. They're taking over one of our two major political parties. They hate this country. They hate white people. They hate our heritage and traditions. This is the fight. Get in the game or go away. And he's right. And so many people are trying to divide our party, the Tucker Carlsons of the world, trying their absolute best to divide our party and shred us into pieces because these absolute fucking retards, these retarded morons, hate us. And in my opinion, a lot of them are actually just falling for the slop. That's right. They're falling for the goynip, ladies and gentlemen. And they are deciding, yeah, we'll let our country fall to shreds, but we'll own the Jews or something. I don't even know. It's, oh yeah, I'm against Trump killing terrorists in the Middle East, so therefore I'm going to hand the fucking party over to terrorists. That's what half of the fucking based influencers are like right now. Now, Ben Shapiro had this to say, and I feel like it's important to note. Last night, a bunch of candidates who literally despise America, one in New York City, establishment dens who live in fear of their radicalized base, will cave to them. By 2028, people who hate this country and wish to destroy it could be in charge. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is actually because there is an old Ben Shapiro tweet that I feel like is really worth addressing. And by the way, I couldn't give a damn about the so-called browning of America. Color doesn't matter. Ideology does. Well, sometimes color comes with the culture of the place that they come from. Listen, man, the thought behind this tweet, I'm sure, is lovely and shit, okay? But actually, cuckaroo, no, this is a awful take. Because when you import the fucking third world, then you get the third world. Oh, but the ideology matter. Yeah, but the ideology sometimes comes along with the inbred asses that drag their fucking retarded cultures into our country with. Sorry, bro. That shit sucks. And I would like you to admit you took an L on this one. I really do. Now, my guy, Stephen Miller, has been dropping bombs. 2026, half the New York City residents speak a language other than English as their primary language. 1/4 of New York City residents lack English language proficiency. Just understand that for a second. Understand what this means. Half of New York City doesn't speak English. Is that not fucking insane? Complete insanity? And it's like, oh, I wonder why all these fucking third world retard jihadists are winning. Well, yeah, we know exactly why. Because you imported the voters. All you had to do was import the voters. Last month, we put open borders industrial complex on notice. Fraudulent system claims will result in fines against attorneys. That's right, based. Get the lawyers to pay massive fucking fines. Today, we find an attorney over $255K for filing multiple fraudulent claims on behalf of Indian nationals. Good. But do this en masse, way bigger, and a lot more. All right, we need to bring this to the absolute fucking max. The truth is, Joseph McCarthy was right, and his flaw was not going far enough. Because actually, communists are inherently violent. It is not protected by freedom of speech, and we need to get these motherfuckers out of our country immediately. Thank you for listening. Get them the fuck out. I will vote for whoever gets these people out. Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib had something incredible to share with the class. Very grateful that we have her presence here, I must say. These sentences are a travesty. Oh no, people are going to jail. You should know, Muslims hate when people go to jail. Totally unjustified, but that's the point. Americans hate the fascist Trump regime, so the only way they can try to cling to power is brute force. And SPM7 is a grave threat to us all. And more bullshit terrorism charges like these are coming. Now you are probably wondering, who is she advocating for? Who would a Muslim woman decide that they're going to put their fucking balls on the line and they are going to sit there and they are going to rail on you? That's right. I want to know. I'm curious. Who is she defending? Members of Congress are defending Antifa terrorists who try to massacre state and federal law enforcement. Well, that's crazy. So you're telling me that someone tried to literally murder law enforcement, and now they're like, no, how can you put them in jail? No, there's no way, right? There's no way. Antifa shot a cop in the neck. Understand what these leftists want. They want a revolution. Wow. So let's understand. Guy shoots a cop in the neck, goes to jail, and they're like, no, these bullshit terrorism charges. That's how they manage to obtain power. They don't actually have... Are we serious? So anyway, the entire communist Palpatine movement decided to come together to push out 100 years for firing a gun at the ground. How did they hit a cop in the neck if they fired a gun at the ground? So many questions. So let's figure this out for a second. All right, we're gonna unwind this entire story. I've designed it in a very fun fashion. It's difficult for a normal person to understand what's happening, so I'll try to explain. You see, the terrorist committed a premeditated act of terror. Interesting. Saw a cop coming to him and his comrades. He grabbed a rifle and fired at the cop, and one of the bullets struck the cop. Now, you're probably thinking that's pretty bad. That seems like terrorism. Bro should go to jail forever, probably. The terrorist's defense was that, and he actually argued this in court, was that he wasn't firing at the cop. No. You see, he was firing a warning shot at the cop and hit him in the neck. But the bullet must have ricocheted and then hit the cop because he didn't mean to hit the cop. So he fired a warning shot at the ground that ricocheted in the neck, is his argument, even though the other argument was they just shot the guy in the neck. Yes, this was his defense, and this is why he was sentenced to 100 years in jail, because he's a terrorist that shot a cop in the neck. And the entire terrorist left decided to come together to defend this guy, because, oh my god, you're gonna put him in jail? All he did was shoot a cop in the neck? Man, I can't believe this. These sentences are a travesty, totally unjustified, but that's the point. Are you serious? Is fascism putting terrorists in jail that shoot cops in the neck? Like, understand what we're doing. The reason why this is the case is because these people hate America. Right? These Islamists that are being imported and put into positions of power, they absolutely hate us. That's what's going on. Now, a large majority of Americans are still waiting for the killers of Rene Good and Alex Brady to be charged and brought to justice. Well, actually, the killers of Rene Good and Alex Brady were charged. They killed themselves. They committed suicide by ice. Man, ripperoonie, bozos. Well, what do you want me to say? I'm just tired of this shit. These people suck. First of all, she was literally a lesbian, and he was literally a male nurse. Death penalty immediately. No, I'm kidding. Obviously, that was a joke. They committed suicide by ice, and that sucked for them, I guess. And the truth of the matter is, no one actually fucking cares. No one cares. I'm sorry. No one cares about George Floyd. No one. I'm sorry. They're retarded. So anyway, there is a massive story going on. In regards to the pool, the reflecting pool. Now, I don't give a shit about the reflecting pool. I know this is a very controversial take. All right, but this is what we're dealing with. What had originally been touted as a $1.52 million renovation was ballooned into a $16.4 million project as the Trump administration tries to get the reflecting pool on National Mall cleaned up before the U.S. celebrates its 250th birthday. All right, so Trump is cleaning up a pool. All right, we got a big pool. Trump is cleaning it, as he should. The truth is, I want our country to actually look good. I know a lot of people are like, oh, this is $16.4 million that they could be giving to refugees. My incredibly hot take is, I'd rather them spend it on the fucking useless pool, okay, than on the refugees. Oh, but Nux, you don't have empathy for people coming into your country trying to rape you? You don't have empathy for people trying to rape you? Not so much, actually. My incredibly hot take is, I like the fact that our country looks awesome. I like the fact that it looks glorious and epic, and not everything is collapsed and shit. I like that our country is not Pakistan. You know, my incredibly hot take is, I like America specifically because it's not Pakistan. And we don't need to make our country Pakistan so that we can have Pakistanis in the country happy. Incredibly hot take. I actually don't want that. So, yes, I am happy that we're spending money making our country actually look decent instead of the enshittification and third worldification of our nation, because leftists think that obviously we should be spending all of our money on fucking retarded inbreds that are coming into our country. I know it's a hot take. Oh, but Nux, you don't have empathy for the inbreds. I do. I want them to stop fucking their cousins and make their countries good and not come here. Hot take. Now, despite being constantly harassed, heckled, and abused by rabid leftists, National Park Service staff continue working around the clock cleaning the reflecting pool. Not to mention they're dealing with sabotage by leftist goons. So one of the major reasons why this reflecting pool ended up costing so much more than it possibly should is because leftists who are complaining about the fact that we're spending money on the reflecting pool are vandalizing the reflecting pool. This is crazy, by the way. All right, so we are spending millions of dollars dealing with retarded communists that are actually showing up sabotaging the reflecting pool. Do you understand how insane this is? They hate that we're spending money, so they're making us spend more money by dealing with the fact that they are committing vandalism and terrorism, essentially. Now, another major story that a lot of people have been asking about. All right, just one moment. Yeah, sorry. I got a delivery. Is the fact that I got a weird feeling that lefties are killing ducks to take down blub. Yeah, this is one of the major conspiracy theories that a lot of people are noticing and talking about. A lot of people are noticing and talking about the fact that all of a sudden ducks keep dying of strangulation in this pool. They are literally trying to make Trump look bad by spending money on a reflecting pool by murdering ducks in the pool. Do you understand? You don't understand. We are dealing with demons beyond our wildest imagination. Beyond our wildest imagination. Actual fucking psych. This is a snapped ass neck. All right, he didn't get it because of detergent. All right, he didn't get this because they used chemicals to clean the pool. Yeah, they put chemicals in the pool, and now this duck's neck snapped because I stepped on it. Oops. You don't understand, bro. You don't understand the level of retarded people we're dealing with. They hate life, actually. It's crazy. All right, so the Donald decided to post a tweet. 6 people have been arrested. 7 people have been cited for the damage they did to our country's now beautiful reflecting pool. Again, let me remind you, I don't care about the reflecting pool. I don't care. But I want these fuckers to go to jail. I do. And I'm so happy that every single one of them is going to jail. It's awesome. It's awesome. And I see a lot of leftists being like, oh, they only damaged the pool. Why should they go to jail? No. These people need to go. Every single one of them. They need to understand that there are consequences for their actions. I would put them in labor camps, actually. Forced labor for the government for the duration of the Trump term, at the very least. I'm sorry. And that's my hot take. They vandalized our city. They're costing us millions on their vandalism. They're going to be in labor camp to make up those millions. That's what I would do. It's insane that we need to live like this. It's crazy. The 350-foot gash was made by a sharp knife or razors. His numerous slashes over a long 350-foot length. These people are fucking crazy. They're crazy. They're insane people. All right, oh my God, Nux, you're so radical. You want to put them in a fucking slave camp? Yes. Duh. Why would I want my taxpayer dollars to pay for them to live in jail if they could simply be our slaves? Hot take. That would be really sick. Oh, Nux, it's so unfair of you. You know, they could have just not done this, and this wouldn't have been an issue. You're so radical, dude. Not slave. Indentured servants. That's what I meant. It was purposefully and criminally done, and somebody had to work very hard, probably in the dark of night, to create such a condition. Likewise, this small area at the bottom of the pool was cut, and by the powerfully lifted off the surface, leaving very jagged, uneven edges. The large areas of grass are being replaced. Understand, we're spending millions on dealing with the fact that these retards are mad that we're spending money on making our country look decent. These people hate us. They hate our nation. Oh my God, it's crazy. All right, and we will drain some of the water either immediately or after the 4th of July to do a permanent repair. And understand, now we need to spend more money on this shit. So I think that money should come directly out of healthcare. That's my opinion. We should take money from healthcare and put it into the pool and then blame the left. That's what I would do. Oh my God. I'm being facetious, obviously, but this is crazy. It's complete insanity. Just in, the Department of the Interior released surveillance footage of leftists vandalizing and attacking the reflecting pool. These people are fucking retarded.
The Department of Interior gave us a look at individuals suspected of vandalizing the reflecting pool.
Suspected.
Now, we haven't been able to verify the video, but take a look. June 19th, a male, blue shirt, reaches in, stays there for a little while.
I suspect this is a retard.
Down, comes back up multiple times. What's he doing? Then a female, white tote bag. She reaches in, needs a better angle, sets the bag down, dives in a little deeper. And we don't know who these people are. No one was stopped or questioned by police, so no arrests. And we don't have the police report yet. But what are they doing with their hands in the pool?
I know.
Are they cutting the lining? Are they peeling off the paint?
Imagine spending millions to fix things that retards are destroying because they don't want us to spend money on it. Understand what we're dealing with.
We don't know if they're committing a crime. They'll probably tell you.
And you know these are white people too. This is like white person crimes, by the way. All right, I'm just being real here. This is white person crimes. Like a Muslim crime would be like blow up people by the pool. All right, white person crimes is like, nah, I hate capitalism, so I am going to make you spend more money on fixing this thing that shouldn't exist because I like when everything is ugly and yucky. Right, so this is like a white person crime.
Stop their wedding.
This is like a vegan type person. Vegan. They care about wildlife, so they snap ducks' necks for the sake of fucking retards.
Right. The Department of Interior says this, quote, in the video, you're seeing 2 suspects observed destroying and removing a piece of the lining and attempting destruction of the lining. This incident took place on June 19, 2026, and we are investigating. Destroying, injuring, defacing, or removing cultural or architectural resources is a federal crime.
That's right, baby. You didn't just fuck around a little bit. You fucked around a lot.
The media, who's been covering liberals destroying public property for decades, believe
Weird,
that
huh?
reflecting pools off limits. They've toppled statues of our founders.
Yeah, but for some reason, we just have to make believe that it's normal that we have to share a country with them and they don't face consequences. We need Old Testament punishment for these people. We absolutely do. I'm tired of making believe that we don't, and we do. I saw Asmongold made a comment like, I'm thinking these are times where we need Old Testament punishment. And I'm thinking to myself, every time is a time that we need Old Testament punishment. But anyway, we're not getting there yet. We're not doing that. Anyway, just now a woman was caught on camera reaching into the reflecting pool, was detained as leftists keep vandalizing it. This keeps happening. It keeps happening. There's so many, and it's white. Of course, it's white people. I told you it's a white guy crime. This is a white person crime. It really is. I'm doing this to make the world better. I'm making the world a better place. Yes. I care about Africans, so therefore, I'm gonna kill some ducks in your pool. Yeah. I really hate that we're spending money on making our country nice when there are Africans that are literally throwing shit at each other. Is it really fair of us to have nice things when Africans are literally living in pig shit? Is that acceptable? The answer is yes. They should have actually just let us continue colonizing them. They didn't like that, so we decided to let them continue living in pig shit. That's just how it works. Oops. Oopsie poopsie. And then they got arrested, obviously. So, American Olympic canoeist allegedly arrested for allegedly vandalizing the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool. My guy, this is a mental illness. This is a mental illness. These people are retarded. Trump derangement syndrome is insane. This is an American Olympic canoeist. He ruined his entire life because he needed to virtue signal about, bro, we need to lobotomize these people. Make lobotomies great again. Mulga, again, the reason why I'm talking about this story is not because this is the least important story ever. Okay, this story sucks. I hate that I'm even talking about make algae grow again. All right, so now retards are talking to the algae. All right, so obviously these are, once again, environmentalists.
She is doing good today, honey. Team Algae, we're sweethearts. Everybody's proud of you. You are single-handedly doing more to fight fascism than any American has. Yes. Let's go, Algae. Yeah, Algae. Woo, Algae! Did you turn around?
Yeah, these are people that don't believe in God, all right? See, these are people that are based atheists. They're based. They don't believe in Sky Daddy. They just talk to algae to have algae fight fascism on their behalf. They're normal, intellectual people that really believe in the world that exists. Bro, we need to kick these people in the fucking reflecting pool. I was a joke, obviously. I would never call for violence. Never. But if they do drown themselves in the reflecting pool, I will make a video about it. I'm just saying. I am just saying. And statistically, the chances of them doing that is higher than me doing it, that's for sure. All right. Oh my, they will literally do anything but get a fucking job. It's crazy. Algae enthusiasts. Oh my God. And look at this flag. It's literally waving the fucking pedophile flag in the background. It's crazy. It's insane. So Asmongold obviously had something to say.
Their minds trying to sabotage the reflecting pool. Looks like the park police are using plainclothes informants to catch people screwing with the sealant in the reflecting pool. This woman has just been detained after being... What the fuck?
The Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool was recently drained, cleaned, and coated with a new reinforced blue sealant.
Charlie. They're fighting fascism, guys.
What the hell? So they're trying to destroy the sealant, then take photos of the sealant being broken to make Donald Trump look bad? You know, we were just talking about the 72 lashes?
That's right.
So what's going on?
That's right, baby. You know, every once in a while I'm thinking Sharia law has its upsides.
That's crazy. Is that when they put up a fence? We don't need to put up a fence. We need to put the
Oh,
people.
they are actually putting up a fence right now. That's the new thing they're doing. Now we have to spend money on putting up a fucking fence because these fucking retarded assholes are murdering ducks. Do you understand what we're dealing with here? Do you understand, socially distant turtle? Thanks for the 5 subs. Do you understand?
People that we need to put up a fence for in jail. I don't want to live around a fence. I don't want to live in a minimum security prison.
That's
and
right.
the way that you do
but
that.
That's what we have to deal with for some reason because the entire Democrat Party loves this. They love terrorism. It's crazy.
Is putting stupid bitches like this in jail. Yeah, bro, she got mogged by Linus Tech Tips. U.S. Park Police, multiple reflecting pool vandals? Are these the people putting algae in the pool? Really? How do you do this? They're trying to stop them from cleaning the water? What the fuck is wrong with them? Police believe he was ripping pieces off the blue sealant at the bottom.
Dude, you cannot make this shit up. These are people with first world problems. Okay? You don't understand. These are people with the most first world problems of all time. Okay? It is absolutely unfathomable. And these people are going to go out there and they're going to protest and they're going to say their things. Get a fucking job. You live in the greatest country on earth. You live in a country that you could shred national monuments and not even get punished for it. These people need to be beaten in public. Literally. This shit's insane. We should not need to live around these people.
This is another one. Wait, there's another one? He attempted to grab a hose out of an NHS employee's hand as they were vacuuming the algae. Ripping sealant?
To be clear, I am not advocating for any form of extrajudicial violence. I do not support actually beating them in public. I want a court to pass flogging laws and illegally beat the shit out of them in public. I want to make my stance very clear.
What the fuck? This is another person.
Why do you do it? I'm just trying to have a better understanding. Lick the boot. If you love the boot, lick it.
Yeah, lick the boot, says the guy who just who's spending the next 12 years in fucking jail because he was murdering ducks. You cannot make this up. You can't make it. Oh, you like licking the boot, says the guy who's going to be going to jail, getting raped in prison for 12 years because he poured algae into a reflecting pool.
You guys have no idea how much I can't wait for a person to just come down as hard on these people as I want them to. A literal pro-algae protest in DC. Can you explain the algae thing? They want algae to be in the pool so it makes Trump look like he's wrong or something like that.
No, I want to make it'll make the pool uglier if there's full of algae. It makes it less reflective. So they're rooting for algae now. Yeah, these people are really showing off their intelligence. This makes Trump look good. I totally agree, actually. I think this makes the left look like complete fucking which they are. They're terrorists and retards, but this is insane.
Team.
And these guys are like, you believe in a god? You believe in a sky daddy? Wow. Why would you believe in something like that? Why? Or, like, you just believe in things? You must be stupid. You must have low IQ just to believe in things. You see, I have a degree. I have a PhD in retarded bullshit. That's right. I have a PhD in gay. That's right, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, at a certain point, you've got to really ask yourself, is this a mental disorder? How do you let this, how do you do this to yourself?
Yeah, a fantastic
That people are losing their
question.
minds.
Oh my god, dude. They're retards. They're actually fucking retarded morons. It's heartbreaking how fucking stupid so much of the country is, and we need to deal with these people. And it's crazy. And we're going to open up, one day, we're going to actually elect someone that's far right enough. Dude is going to open up the asylums. And he's going to say, all right, so you have TDS, you go there. You have fucking schizophrenia, you go there. If you're a male that thinks you're a female, you go over there. You have Islam, you go over there. And we're going to put all the mentally ill people in fucking camps. And everyone's going to be like, wow, this is so inhumane. And then 1 month later, they're going to be like, holy shit, we're living in paradise. I'm just saying, we all know that's exactly how it's gonna go down. Every single one of us knows this, and no one wants to admit it. So it turns out the LA election that just happened was actually fraud. We have so much evidence. Karen Bass is losing it. It seems like everything is fraud in California. JD Vance just tweeted that there are 460 criminal charges, $6.5 billion intended loss, $1.4 billion actual loss, 127 million seized assets. Great work by everybody for the fraud takedown. If you are doing fraud, we will find you and we will kill you. Sorry, he's not based enough to kill them. He's only based enough to find them. All right, but hey, that is huge compared to what we were dealing with. Lots of fraud. So Kash Patel actually announced that they're arresting people now finally.
Those days are over, and this should showcase to the world the length that we will go as an interagency and as a task force to apprehend and arrest and bring to justice anyone who steals our dollars that are meant for our most vulnerable citizens. We're also going to ask what we did in Ohio a couple of weeks ago, and we'll circulate it on social media later. We're adding 2 more individuals to the most wanted fraudster list. Oh, yes. I said then, and I've said it before, the American people in the world are our best sources of information. There is no such thing as bad information. So if you have any information on Khalid Sitari, who is wanted for a $547 million genetic testing scheme, and we believe to be hiding in the United Arab Emirates, call 1-800-CALL-FBI, 1-800-CALL-FBI. Let us know. You saw what we did in just 2 weeks by apprehending 2 of the most wanted fraudsters. With your help, we will apprehend the rest of them. The last one is Emily Tai, who's also wanted in connection with a genetic testing scheme for allegedly stealing $90 million. And she was previously on an ankle monitor and fled, we believe, to Vietnam. So if the American public or anyone in the world has information on Emily Tai...
So yeah, anyway, it's actual patriots. It's citizens that's actually showing up and saving the world. All right, that's what's happening right now. All right, right now, the American people on both sides of the political spectrum are fighting. All right, we have the patriots on one side that love our country and want our country to not be fraudulent communist shitholes. And then you have the patriots on the other side. Of course, when I say patriots, I mean patriots to Palestine, fighting for what actually matters, like how Palestinians keep starting wars and losing. All right, the terrorist side of the political spectrum is actually just moronic. All right, and they hate our country and they want to destroy it. So ultimately, we have the retards on one side and the patriots on the other side fighting an epic force of gigantic proportion, where ultimately the government is kind of there and not doing enough, but hey, at least they exist. We need to elect radicals in 2028. we need more. We just need more. Like, I'm glad every time someone gets arrested, but we need more. Now, apparently, she thought she stole the election until today. Karen Bass got a very rude awakening.
Did they come down here and try and pay you to vote?
Yes.
On a ballot?
Yes.
That's a woman! Sorry.
How much they pay you?
$5.
So reports are coming.
$5 to vote. So they have exposed so much unbelievable amount of actual fraud
Out of California that the needy are being paid to vote. Meanwhile, election results here take weeks to calculate, and while officials defend this process as working as designed, it's a process that has seen candidates who were in tears on election night emerge victorious later. And now the Department of Justice is looking into what they say are credible allegations and evidence of wrongdoing.
That's right. Actual rigged election. How insane is that, bro? I think that's absolute craziness. It's insane.
Come and vote for these candidates?
Yes, sir.
I told you who to vote for?
Karen Bass. That's what I was saying, Bass.
Karen Bass.
DDHQ projected...
They're paying them to vote in elections. Democrats, ladies and gentlemen, it's what they do. They cheat, they steal, they just want power. And you see, the funny thing is, and I said this before, and everyone thinks that I'm insane, they have no moral compass. They don't believe in anything that would actually make them stand up for their principles. They don't have principles. They only want power. So yes, they will give some homeless person, all right, they will give some homeless person some fucking crack money. I'll give them some crack money, and then they'll vote for you, and they'll rig the election. I think it's insane. It's absolute insanity.
Nithya Raman will pull ahead of reality TV star Spencer Pratt. And here's why Trump's angry. Because on election night, Pratt was a solid second. Raman was once a distant third place, and she herself thought she was done.
And this is the California vote counting slog in action. Behind me, a group just went on break, and off in the distance, you see another group.
I don't think there's wide-scale fraud. I think there's the potential of
it because we can't, we do ballot harvesting, we do all the mail-in stuff.
Oh, of course. No widespread fraud. What do you mean? What do you mean? Why would you possibly think that?
All the stuff that fraudsters could exploit. So we could fix the problem by just doing it how other states did it.
Yeah.
I think that the election was rigged against Spencer Pratt.
Everyone
you
thinks
have election fraud that's already been discovered in California with them paying homeless people to register. And then on top of that, you have all the hospice fraud. Like, are we really supposed to expect that nothing else bad is happening? I mean, come on, give me a break.
Everyone's paying attention now.
So in California, there's a big difference between when the election happens and when everything gets wrapped up. And that's got
these people think that stealing elections is just part of the communist revolution. Nothing to see here, folks. Just a little bit of a communist revolution going on. Classic communist revolution, am I right, guys? So we steal an election, but it's for the greater good. These people are immoral retards. You have to understand how evil these people are to think that this is somehow acceptable. And remember, they call you a fascist. They call you a Nazi, an authoritarian, as they rig elections in broad daylight, and they know that for some reason, people don't do nearly enough about it.
people asking questions, including the Department of Justice. But even though nobody involved in this process has been convicted of anything right now, nobody watching what's happening here feels good about it.
Honestly, I'm so happy that they're doing it in front of us because, you know, everyone's saying about Trump, specifically the 2020 election, how could you possibly say that there's any wrongdoing? Meanwhile, hundreds of people have been arrested for voter fraud since Trump came into office. Enough to decide? I don't know. Yes, if he actually would have won. Wouldn't have won. I don't know. I don't know. What I do know is something's not kosher.
Except, of course, the folks who will advance to the next round of these highly contested elections. After all, how could they feel bad about a system in which they were victorious? Now, of course, just because someone won does not mean there's a problem. But the entire country saw how candidate Nithya Raman gave what to many looked like a tearful speech.
A concession. She knows she lost, she admits it, and then all of a sudden, wow! Millions of mail-in ballots all voting for the third place candidate to rocket her into second place. Wow! Isn't that cool?
Each to only see her stage a comeback no poll indicated she was capable of. Now again, that doesn't mean the system is fraudulent, but there's been other weird things happening in California as well, with recent instances of people being convicted for paying people for votes. On top of that, the Department of Justice is looking into California's vote counting system, because things here are not done the way they are done in other states. And even if the system is ironclad, if it takes 3 weeks to count votes, a system that takes that long is gonna need protection for that entire time, as the chain of execution takes a lot longer, which makes it a tempting target for the wrong people. And that's the real reason the Department of Justice is now getting involved. And they're saying they've got credible allegations that something really wrong has happened here, which they can't reveal yet, but which have brought them to start looking around and digging.
Dude, if we actually undo this election, it would be such an unreal, colossal W. It would be absolutely insane if we're able to actually undo this one. And not enough people understand how big it would be if we could actually undo one of their fraudulent elections. Because they do this all the time. You absolutely know that.
This is why every American needs to look into the explosive interviews with the homeless who insist they are still getting money in exchange for something, and how state officials at the highest levels who were under federal investigation may have knowingly or unknowingly set up a system that behaves unexpectedly. Like this.
That's how they vote in California. Just like you're crooked. This is what he's so mad about. Over the weekend, DDHQ projected Nithya Raman will pull ahead of reality TV star Spencer Pratt in the Los Angeles mayor's race and make it to the runoff. So it's going to be progressive against ultra-progressive. And here's why Trump's angry, because on election night, Pratt was a solid second. Raman was once a distant third place, and she herself thought she was done.
That's very strange. Now, I cannot remember a time when a candidate went out there on election night and essentially admitted defeat to then come back and stage one of the biggest political comebacks in history. Does that mean there's fraud? No, that's not evidence, but it's very weird. I can't remember this ever happening before.
Every person in this room is fighting for in
I am so confident in the fact that there was fraud. It's crazy. And everyone
campaign
knows it.
Has been about building a city that's worthy of you and every child in the city.
But there's another problem certain news organizations are pointing out. Watch this.
Very much the case, Nicole, and this is the California vote counting slaughter.
Bro, every time I see that video of her crying and admitting defeat, the first thing I think is like, oh, she obviously knows she lost, and then it was fraud. The second thing I think of, bro, are we still electing women? Are we still doing this? Have we not learned our mistake? I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, man. We're still
In
doing
action
that.
behind me, a group
Oh,
just
my God.
went on break, and off in the distance you see
500 years, America, obvious superpower, will have colonized a couple of planets. All right, well, the United States of the United Planets of America is gonna be awesome, and people are gonna be like, we made so much progress ever since we stopped electing women. And then everyone will be like, bro, can you imagine how retarded our ancestors were? I hear they also had female police officers. No, that's a myth. That never happened.
another group. This is the extraction process where workers physically take the ballots out of envelopes for the signature verification process. The work here is expected.
So I don't know if you've ever been to a bank or a car dealership or even T-Mobile, but no place that handles paperwork from anybody has it laying around in bins. Now I realize this is a postal operation and a vote tabulating system all in one, but just
the fact that we have a month of counting votes is insanity. You heard correctly. You heard correctly. The fact that that's real is crazy. It's complete craziness. Complete craziness. A month of... They count in India. India, bro. They're wading through shit. And they count all the votes in like 10 minutes. Okay? All right, but for some reason in California, fucking the epicenter of gay. All right, every single person in California has a PhD in gay. Every single one of them. They can't figure out a fucking count? Well, I don't know how many genders they are. I guess they can't figure out counting. Counting is one of their weaknesses.
this doesn't look organized or secure. You have stuff that's all over the place. You have someone sweeping the floors in front of what could be sensitive voting information. Do accidents happen? Does stuff get knocked over? Does stuff get put in the wrong place? Now, in full transparency, you can see into this vote counting operation. There are election observers who are supposed to watch out for that stuff, but because this is such a long drawn out process, people are starting to ask questions. But before we get into what those are,
I've been propositioned with bank fraud, phone fraud, voter fraud.
What's going on with this situation with the homeless?
Because some state is run by commie retard foreigners, and it just doesn't work. Actually, that's crazy. I can't believe it.
Was just convicted, but according to the New York Post, it's still going on.
Karen Bassett. That's what I say, Bassett?
Karen Bass, yeah. Or Nithya Raman.
Karen.
Karen, they told you to vote for Karen?
Yeah, they had to sign a little thing.
And how much they pay you?
It's like $2.
$2?
Wow.
They sign off
$2
on the thing to vote for her?
Yeah.
It's literally a steal. Do you see what I did there? You see what I did there?
So they say, oh, do you want to vote for Karen or Nithya? Or they just really just tell you to vote for Karen?
By the way, you probably don't know this. They're still counting. By the way, they're actually still counting.
They gave you an optional choice, but they tell you who they want you to vote for.
Oh, wow.
They tell you who you want to vote for. It's like, yo, we'll give you $2, but you got to vote for one of these people.
Well, you know, I'm a barter, man, so I got $4.
You got what?
$4.
So he says he bargained up and was able.
Oh, this guy, he managed to get $4. Now, do you understand why they want all these homeless people on the streets? Do you understand why they want all these drug-addicted, homeless people on the streets? They win elections because of these guys. They're literally abusing the homeless in order to win elections. Do you understand how fucking evil this is? They're evil on every possible fucking way.
Able to get $4. Now, this, again, until someone is convicted, these are all allegations. But why would 3 different people all come out and tell a journalist the exact same story and say that they were paid very small amounts of money? This does line up with a conviction that recently...
$4 for voting for that bitch. Worst candidate, but $4 and $4.
happened where a woman pled guilty, doing the exact sort of thing that's happening here. But the other part of this that's very interesting is just because this happened, that in and of itself is not proof that perhaps the candidate that benefited from it had something to do with it. Now, definitely people are going to say, hey, there's got to be a connection. They're telling people on the street to vote a certain way, and then that candidate gets the vote. Of course, there's a connection. Well, there may be. That's why the Department of Justice is getting involved in all of this.
Still circulating online. Even the mayoral candidate, Spencer Pratt, pointed out that the amount at one time, the difference between him and Nithya Raman was about the same amount of people that are homeless in the city of Los Angeles. So that had to start looking into what exactly are the rules, especially after some information was put out there saying that there are more people with their address registered to vote at the LA Mission, for example, than actually the LA Mission has beds to offer. So what are the rules? Well, we looked at federal guidelines. We even asked the registrar and the state. And here's the answer: is people who are experiencing homelessness, or really anybody who doesn't have a permanent address, can use a homeless shelter as their address, even if they don't live there permanently. They can also use simply an intersection or a park. The idea.
And here we have a gigantic mass of retarded drug addicts that they are literally just paying to steal elections. I think it's incredible. All part of the plan. All part of the fucking plan. They don't want our country better. They just want power. So they are willing to abuse all these people and then say, oh, we are here to fight for the people. And the people vote for them. Shit, man. Hey, managed to get $4 and a crack pipe for that vote. It was worth every penny.
According to the registrar's office, is to get that person registered to vote in the area, in the district.
What are you gonna do? You gonna put me in jail? You gotta put me in jail where I get free food? Shit, man. That sounds like a dream.
That they live. So if you look at voter registrations and you see that one particular homeless shelter has more people registered to vote than beds they have, that's not unusual. That would be common with somebody who at one point lived there or still gets mail there. And that.
So apparently everything that's happening in California is by the rules. But what's interesting about that is these rules almost seem as if they lend themselves to conspiracy theories, if you could put it that way. Now, we don't have proof yet.
Conspiracy theories, yes. This doesn't sound suspicious at all. You must be a conspiracy theorist. You know, the earth is flat and they're paying homeless people to vote.
Something has happened here, but this isn't something that only a few people have questions about. Watch.
I'm not saying it's rigged. I'm saying it stinks to high heaven, and everybody knows that.
People can just dig through garbage cans, find ballots, and send them in, apparently forever after an election is over. It's not okay. It's got to come to an end, and people need to go to jail.
There is only one reason to design an election in this way, and it's to control the outcome.
But what evidence is there to prove that there was rigged? Some of these efforts are so diabolical and so far upstream it is impossible to prove. But I think everybody knows instinctively something is wrong here.
So you've got elected officials. You've got people on the internet, you've got candidates, everyone says that just something is wrong. And you know what would end all of this? A federal investigation. And that's why the Justice Department is getting involved. Because regardless of the outcome here, what needs to happen is it needs to be made sure and made certain that there's no foul play. That's the only thing people have a problem with here, is the idea that there is something wrong going on and that somebody wants something they weren't entitled to. That's what everybody watching this has a problem with. And the idea that that could be happening is what has people talking. And we've also seen other strange allegations over the last few months that make you ask even more questions.
The issue is how the election was designed. Democrats created California's election laws to ensure they always win. Things like unlimited ballot harvesting, people going out and finding ballots and bringing them in, totally legal in California, not in most other states. 100% vote by mail, meaning every registered voter gets a ballot, often dead people, often people who moved. That means there's a lot of extra ballots floating around.
I call me old-fashioned, but I don't actually think dead people should be able to vote for Democrats in elections. I'm just saying. Like, it's like that famous meme. It's like, I can't believe my grandfather just voted for a Democrat. He never voted for a Democrat while he was alive.
No ID needed to vote or to register. These types of policies allowed a woman to register her dog to vote, and the dog voted multiple times. Wow. They only caught her because she turned herself in. One. Here is a picture of Maya the dog with an I voted sticker on it, and Maya the dog's ballot.
So the thing that this has people asking questions about is, if someone deliberately tries to exploit the system and it's not caught, what does that mean? This person turned themselves in. They did it to apparently document this process and expose flaws with the process. It looks like they've gone and done that, but people are saying, hey, if this dog was able to do this, is this happening? Are other people's pets engaging in the same behavior? See, this is what people want to have answers to. But what about the system of counting the votes itself? Why does it take so long? Is that an anomaly? Is that how it's designed? And what are the powers that be saying about that?
California's robust mail-in ballot system means every eligible registered voter gets a ballot delivered to their doorstep.
To try to make it as easy as possible for voters to participate in their democracy.
Their democracy. We are making it as easy as possible for their democracy. We want to steal elections, so we're going to get retarded people that want free shit from us because we give them drugs to vote for us. So therefore, we are going to help their democracy. We're gonna make their democracy better.
After Election Day, officials now have 13 days to count ballots under a new law by Assemblymember Mark
Let's
Furman.
go! 13 more days of counting magic votes. That's right.
Down from
It's time for the homeless people to figure out how to sign fucking documents. And we have to wait for the fucking drugs to wear off.
30 days.
Probably more that we can do to count those ballots faster, but that does not mean that there's fraud in our elections.
Those claims.
Please, you think that there's fraud in our elections just because homeless people are getting paid to vote? Oh, just shameful. You're probably a Nazi.
Amplified by President Donald Trump and other Republican leaders.
So the allegation here is that you've got this system that does things that no other system does. The idea that every single registered voter has a ballot mailed to them, yes, does that increase participation in elections? Absolutely. But now you've got to have a whole separate verification process for that in a way that was never around for mail-in ballots. As somebody that grew up in the 90s, I remember when votes used to be counted and tallied on election night. And there were mail-in ballots back then, but they were such a small percentage of the overall vote.
Every single third world country figured out how to do that shit, but California Everyone has a PhD in gay, but they couldn't figure that one out.
Oh, you would still know who won on election night because you could say, well, since 90% of people were voting in person on election night, if we have results from that and we know how many outstanding mail-in ballots there are, we know if those need to come in or not to even affect the result of this materially. So people had more confidence in a system in the past, and now that the system has changed and takes a long time, people want to know what's going on.
It's not like we can point to a lot of fraud, and there's been a lot of investigations of the process. Are you worried that saying, this is obviously rigged because Pratt had so many votes early on? He had votes early on because they count the day of voters first. And the mail-in vote is huge.
Like, the cope is insane. The cope is crazy.
And is disproportionately Democrat. We shouldn't be surprised by this.
No, I think what it does is it opens the door to potential fraud, which then gets people talking about it and accusations of fraud. So
get the fuck out of here, bro. So she got the majority, the first place, Karen Bass got the majority of the mail-in votes on the day of election. After it ended with Pratt beating Rahman, all of a sudden, Rahman was getting the majority of the mail-in votes. Explain, if your argument is that showing up in person votes for Republicans, because people that vote for Republicans tend to have the capability to move their legs as opposed to Democrats who are zombies. I'm just trying to figure this out. The truth of the matter is, if the majority of the votes were going to her at the beginning, and then all of a sudden it switched to go to her to knock him out of the top two, doesn't that seem suspicious?
it's essentially saying, I don't think there's wide-scale fraud. I think there's the potential of it because we can't, we do ballot.
Democrats, they don't walk because fat is beautiful, and they're all fucking obese whores. So they don't vote, but they mail in votes. And that's very helpful for us because it makes the fraud because it makes counting it easier.
At harvesting, we do all the mail-in stuff. We do all the stuff that fraudsters could exploit. So
that's why people are asking questions. Is there proof it's been exploited on a scale that would change the results materially? No, it has not. But that's not what the Justice Department says. They say there's something going on in California, and they say it's worth investigating. And that's why there is now a federal investigation of this whole process.
We do have big questions about fraud in California. Let's just deal with the facts for a second. We do have election fraud. We charged a case just last month. I'm not sure if you covered it, but there was an individual who was caught on video paying homeless people in Skid Row to register to vote with false information. That's not a theory. That's not a suspicion. That is a case that we filed, and she has pled guilty to that. So that's a conviction. So we have multiple cases in that vein open on election fraud. Now the question that you ask many is it widespread? How much is it? Is it enough to sway an election? Well, the answer is we don't know. No, you can't say no. You haven't done an investigation.
The purpose of the U.S. government is to serve the interests of the people. And if people have questions about something, there needs to be an investigation. It needs to be looked into. People need to know and understand that everything's fair and square, because if people don't, people are going to have questions. They're not going to trust their government. The whole system's going to break down. So you have to have an investigation, whether or not a certain person may or may not think that the investigation is even warranted. If people have questions about something, like the UFO thing, we keep investigating UFOs because people have questions. If the government says, no, we're not going to investigate UFOs ever again, what do you think that's going to do to people who say there's some conspiracy? The conspiracies are going to go through the roof, and people aren't going to get any answers. That's why a lot of this information is getting released now with the whole UFO thing. You have to do something to tackle this stuff. You have to get ahead of it, whether or not you even think it's real. But there's more. Listen to this.
Okay, under federal law, we're entitled to audit California's voter rolls. Under multiple civil rights statutes, we're entitled to audit those.
You are.
The state is resistant.
Yes, you are.
Why is that?
I know.
Why are they resistant?
It's a bad look.
The best way to deal with all this.
It's a bad look. Hey, it's legal for us to investigate you, so why are you complaining? Because it looks bad. It looks like you think we're cheating or something. Yes, that is what it looks like, isn't it?
Is to have transparency and to give people, like Chris, I don't care what the outcome of the election is. We want people to have confidence in the systems and that the laws are being followed.
I agree.
So yeah, when California lets you register to vote with a gym card, that is not a good system. When you can register to vote with a debit card, that's not a good system. When you don't clean your voter rolls, that is not a good system. When you legalize ballot harvesting, which is illegal in most states with no chain of custody, not a good system. And then you ask us, why do we have evidence of wide-scale fraud? Because
the last part is inaccurate.
What's inaccurate?
The last part.
So nobody has a problem with a process or an outcome if you can observe that process and just verify simply that, hey, things here seem okay. Like you go to the bank, you give them your money, they put it in your account, they give you a receipt, and you can check in online banking and say, hey, there's a credit on my account. I mean, that's a verifiable process. You don't have to worry after that the bank is then going to take money out of your account and just spend it on whatever they want, because you'll be able to see right away if something weird like that happens. So we like processes that are simple and that are verifiable. We don't like processes that are convoluted, that take a long time, that perhaps don't have the level of transparency that some people would want. not. And then he brings up a good point here. He says, look, the state is resisting some of this auditing that the federal government is entitled to do. Why are they resisting? Well, that just creates more conspiracies when you do something like that, whether you think it's warranted or not.
And the state saying no is a bad look. That's what I said, a bad look. All right, so I'm with you. But if you were to say to a judge, Your Honor, we don't know that they didn't do it, that is a standard. Now, it works in politics, not in law. That's what I want to make sure you know how to keep straight.
We have not charged the state of California with wide-scale voter fraud. We're conducting an investigation. We have not brought a case.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, when we do bring cases, we will have plenty of evidence to prove beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law. That is how we work. That is how we speak. I have not provided any specifics on any case.
Why are you crashing out? We just want to see if you did it. And the answer is because they did it, and they know they did it. They know they did it. We don't want you to investigate us because we don't want people to lose faith in the election. So that's why we want to investigate. No, but we don't want you to, because then people are going to be like, oh, it's totally not fair that you're investigating us. I don't even understand the argument. The argument is inherently retarded.
I've simply told you there is evidence of voter fraud. We are looking into it.
There's evidence, like, you know, because people already pled guilty to it. So we know what happened. We're just trying to figure out the scale. But it'll make people lose faith. Are you fucking retarded?
And when we're ready to...
The answer is he knows that they rigged it.
Bring those cases, you'll see the evidence. You'll see the case. We'll make it a court of law.
He says there's evidence. He says that's why the federal government is here. He says that the federal government is not here on some sort of political witch hunt because somebody lost a mayoral election. They're saying that there is actual evidence, but because it's part of an investigation, can't be released yet. But when the court case happens, then everybody will see. I guess now the only thing that doesn't really help with the conspiracies is what is that evidence? Now everybody wants to know. We can look at recent videos, we can look at recent reports, we can observe how these systems work and come to our own conclusions. But until there's an actual investigation and there are actual charges and a judge pronounces or a jury pronounces somebody innocent or guilty, we don't have an answer here. But it sounds like we're going to very soon.
You'll see the evidence. You'll see the case. We'll make it in a court of law. But we want to instill confidence in the elections, which is why we are seeking to audit the voter rolls. And that, to me, is the best way to alleviate most of people's suspicion. We have a system that breeds...
How can you possibly be upset about this? They're just trying to figure out if it was rigged or not. Why are you such a bitch? It's unbelievable. Hello?
Skepticism and distrust. We should have a little transparency and confidence in our system.
I'm all for the transparency. I'm all for it.
And I think that what we need to remember here is that when you have...
I love transparency. Transparency is awesome. But maybe this time, maybe not this time.
A system that does not breed confidence. Everybody just kind of comes to their own conclusion. And since the government is either stonewalling or not giving answers, it just makes the whole thing worse. Why do we want to have a system like that? This isn't even about who won or lost the election. This is, was this thing fair? Because if it's not fair, your political party could win, and then somebody else could cheat later and disenfranchise it. Like, we don't want to see any of that stuff. We don't want that stuff to happen. And I think it's good that people are looking into this because they
want that stuff to happen. They literally want that stuff to happen. I am tired of making believe that the left is just like, well, we're just trying the best to be our best, live our best life and be our best people, and we want to live in a country where everyone can get free everything because we want freedom and happiness for rapists and pedophiles. They don't actually believe any of this shit. They want power. They're power hungry, vampiric groomers and monsters. All right, that is what the left is comprised of. It is a satanic ideology. It's evil to its core. And yes, they do believe in a revolution, and they do want to take power by any means necessary. They don't want fair elections because they know that they're the ones fucking rigging that shit. Because they know all the poor people, all the criminals, all the illegals, they're all going to be voting for leftists. So of course they don't want it to be fair because they want power. They want to win. I am tired of people falling for the slapaganda that are like, oh, we're just trying to make America better, and we just have different economic values than you do. No, they don't. They want power. They're fucking communists. They hate our country, and they want us dead. And I'm tired of making believe that's not the case. Wake the fuck up. The Goyslop drama is insane. I don't know all the details. I just saw the one very viral ADL post. Apparently people have been crashing out about it. I feel like this is my time. This is my time to shine. We have to talk about it. So, in my opinion, the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, is run by like this woke Jew. They call everything anti-Semitism, and in my opinion, they caused more anti-Semitism than Nick Fuentes. I'm not even being hyperbolic. All right, this is insane. You know, they go crazy. Every time someone makes a joke that is remotely related to Jews, they have, like, public crash outs. They try to pressure different companies to cancel and blackmail people. I hate these guys. They suck. Lord Duran, thanks for the 10 subs. I appreciate it a lot. So we got to talk about this situation.
Hey, what's up, guys? Riff here. So in this video, we're going over a very interesting situation involving Shoe on Head, Asmongold, and countless internet...
I didn't know Shoe on Head was involved.
...users who are criticizing a recent decision to designate a particular phrase as a slur. When it comes to organizations that have the power or the perceived power to...
I hate the ADL. The ADL called Turning Point USA a white supremacist organization. They're actually evil. They're evil. It's crazy. Bro, the woke Jews are diabolical.
Designate certain things as hateful. There's a lot of free speech implications.
The ADL is like the Black Lives Matter of the woke Jews. Literally, it's a nightmare.
And a lot of people call into question why we're even tolerating this sort of thing in the first place. And when people like Shoe on Head would mock and criticize this recent decision, her reply was hidden by the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, that holds within its goals to mark certain things as hateful or slurs or what have you.
Suck!
You can see their previous line of work a few years ago designating Pepe the Frog as a hate symbol.
I didn't even know they did that. These are humiliating people. Humiliating people. And again, you have to understand, all right? So Jews, the term Jew refers to a religion, obviously, in Judaism, and also like some sort of ethnicity with an asterisk in regards to like people. Like you could have not religious Jews, right? If you have a not religious Christian, they're just not a Christian, but you can still have not religious Jews. And the ADL is run by these woke atheist Jews, and it sucks. It absolutely sucks. I didn't know that they categorized Pepe the Frog as a slur. Oh my god, dude. Or as a hate speech or something. Like, it's insane. And it sucks. It sucks tremendously. Because obviously this is antithetical to biblical principle. All right? The Bible is very clear that words are not crimes unless it's blasphemy. All right? Aside from blasphemy, words aren't crimes. You know? And don't slander. That's another one. Slander and blasphemy. Other than that, what are we doing? So again, I think these people are just manipulating retards into feeling bad about saying things so that they could control them, I guess. But it's so bad.
Feels bad, man. But you can see the absolute ridiculous nature of some of the things that they do. Now, there was a possible moment of redemption for this group back a few months ago when they were targeting Hassan Piker.
They call out everyone. Yeah, that's not a moment of redemption. Bro, the ADL hates me! Me! I'm literally Jewish, and the ADL thinks I'm an anti-Semite. Because I think that they're retarded. Okay, do you understand? Do you understand the levels of fucking retardation that we're dealing with?
But unfortunately, they look...
Yeah, the bar is in hell. Oh, at least the ADL calls out a fucking terrorist like Hassan. An alleged terrorist, I'm so sorry.
Like paper tigers, they never actually did anything to Hassan Piker, who really was the golden boy for whatever they were trying to do, but they really let that one slip through the cracks. But you can see they've continued their amazing work just yesterday targeting PUBG, stating that their online gaming leaderboard showed that they haven't implemented basic protections to keep human players safe from anti-Semitism and extremism. Now, this would get mocked.
The ADL is kind of like the SPLC. You know how the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center, was caught funding like KKK to make believe there was racism so that they can... So I think the ADL does the same thing. I think the ADL like calls out random bullshit to create anti-Semitism so that they could be like, oh my god, guys, look at all the anti-Semitism. And then they raise money. It's like, oh, look at all the anti-Semitism. They all hate us because we're Jews. No, they hate you because you're retarded. Oh my god.
Endlessly, but this was not the viral post that everyone's recently talking about. That post was talked about by Shoe on Head, and it seems like they have a particular bone to pick with her because they selected her reply and decided to hide it because it was ratioing them into the shadow realm.
That's how it works.
Now here's the post in question.
Go, baby.
It says this: a slur doesn't stop being a slur because teenagers started using it. Today's New York Times on language column treats the anti-Semitic slur goy slop.
This is not an anti-Semitic slur! These people are fucking retarded. Like, what are we even supposed to do? It's so bad.
As a fun linguistic curiosity rather than what it is, a term rooted in white supremacist conspiracy theories. Normalizing this kind of language is dangerous. Goy slop is not just edgy slang. It combines goy with a Hebrew word that colloquially refers to non-Jews with slop to promote a conspiracy theory that Jewish people are deliberately poisoning non-Jews with cheap food to keep them docile. It was coined and spread by anti-Semites and white supremacists. No amount of teenage adoption changes that origin. Such terms spread negative stereotypes.
People are retarded, by the way. No, just for the record, goy is a Hebrew word. It shows up in the Bible a few times. It means nation. In fact, in the Bible, it refers to Jews as a goy, a nation. You know, it's like it's insane, man. Yes, it colloquially was referring to non-Jews as goyim, and then goyim started using the term as like goy slop whenever Hollywood, which is run by Jews, is producing fucking retarded bullshit about all the look at all these beautiful gay couples, how they're totally not molesting children and stuff. All right, and we're just about yes. That is classic goy slop. The goyim have reclaimed the goy slop. They've reclaimed that shit. I'm just being real.
Stereotypes and conspiracy theories. Their normalization is exactly what the bigots who coined them aspire to be. And here you can see their definition. And then the 11 million views on this tweet that clearly went...
Do you see what I am saying? Do you see? They are causing more anti-Semitism. Listen, man, I'm just being completely real with you. Bombing the fuck out of Gaza was not nearly as detrimental to Jewish PR as these retarded libtard Jews that are pushing this shit all the time. I'm just being real.
Viral, but not for the reasons the ADL was hoping. Despite having 11 million views, it only has 1,900 likes and over 2,000 quotes. Mostly,
I am telling you, the reason why they did this, and I know this sounds like conspiracy theory, but I've seen them do this before. I think they're doing the Southern Poverty Law Center shtick, where they make a post like this that's inflammatory on purpose, so that they post this, they get 1,000 likes and 11 million views, and then they go and they show it to all of the rich Jewish donors. Oh my god. Oh my god. They fucking hate us. It's another Holocaust. It's another Holocaust, boys. They're gonna Holocaust us. Look at this tweet, the way they're ratioing my tweet. It's another Holocaust. Give me money, please. Please. And that's what they're doing. I think they manufacture anti-Semitism on purpose with their bullshit so that they can raise money.
Dunking on them. But only 82 replies. Well, that's because they locked the replies. True free speech advocates right here. They didn't like what people are saying.
They're not free speech advocates. They are the police speech guys.
So, of the 82, they basically hid almost all of them, including Shoe on Head's response. But yeah, to hide replies on Twitter, you have to manually do that with every single reply, which is quite the effort. But it just shows they don't want any feedback. So here's what Shoe on Head said in response. Wait. Goy, the Hebrew word that refers to non-Jews. So you have your own little slur for us, but we're bad for using it ourselves. LMF.
It's a word! I'm so tired of people making believe that people are not allowed to say words. This shit's retarded.
Hey, yo. You can see she got 34,000 likes versus their 1,800 likes. A brutal ratio, but the ratio was so bad that they decided to hide her reply. A complete white flag waving of defeat right here when you hide someone's replies and they still brutally ratio you. And
the ADL just got goy handled.
Shoe on Head would quote the situation, doing a follow-up saying, "The ADL hid my reply. Can you believe this? How could they be so mean to the birthday girl?" So apparently
it is well known that on your birthday you're allowed to say slurs.
It was her birthday when this happened, and happy belated birthday. Everyone drop a happy birthday in the reply section or the comment section here. I forget what platform I'm on sometimes. But yeah, that is a pretty funny development. But you can see some of the people attacking Shoe on Head. Here's a post kind of summing up what happened.
God, dude. What are we doing? What are we doing as a people?
User says claps back and it's Nazi stuff.
Claps back and it's Nazi shit? Bro, these people are like, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. They just manufacture all this shit all the time.
Ah, yes. So Shoe calling into question the legitimacy of this decision and also the hypocrisy is clearly Nazi stuff. But of course, these people lie as easily as they breathe. They're just scathing hypocrites. And someone looked up the same terms for this person's account who routinely uses the phrase. The ADL would like to have a word with you, hypocrites. But anyways, going back to the post, like I said, They locked the replies. They tried to limit who could engage. Of course, you can still quote the post. But what's really interesting is they hid all but maybe 5 of the replies. They left up Asmongold's reply.
Go.
I guess they just saw him and they were stricken with fear or something. So they left his in saying, here are some additional horrible slurs that some bigots online have been using. Hopefully,
that's my guy, raising awareness to protect the Jews.
You can use these to better combat.
That's why they call him the Goy King. Goy Lord, Asmongold Goy Lord, Asmongoy, some would even call him.
Anti-Semitism. None of these are funny, and anyone laughing is a horrible person with various examples provided. Also, 23,000 likes, completely ratioing them. Why they left this but hid shoes is a very interesting thing.
That's because obviously Asmongold is doing this for educational purposes. He's explaining what all the terms are. See, the Goy Beam is easily my favorite. I personally am a big fan of the Goy Beam.
But Asmongold would have more to say about this, so let's give this a quick listen.
I thought this was really fucking funny. So, shoe on head claps back at the ADL for referring to goy slop as a slur.
Yeah.
Wait. Goy, the Hebrew word that refers to non-Jews. So you have your own little...
Yeah, goy jutsu is when you get scammed in Chinatown.
Slur for us, but we're the bad ones for...
Goy raped is when you visit England.
Using it ourselves. Yeah, goy is our N-word. You understand that? So, like, whenever you say the word goy, you're taking it back from the oppressors.
Reclaim
like,
it from the
We are allowed
ADL.
to say goy because, again, they use this word to hold us down for 3,000 years, okay?
Yes, notoriously Jews have been oppressing the Goyim for 3,000 years.
Like,
with slurs.
Rules for thee, but not for me. The whole thing is very hypocritical. I think that is
It's completely retarded. Listen, the funny thing is about the ADL, let's logic this for a second. If goy is in fact a slur, then it's a slur against non-Jews, obviously. If goy is not a slur, then it's not a slur, and anyone could use the fucking word, right? Like, let's just try to understand this.
Baseline of all this. And also, when you want to designate a certain term as a slur and basically wag your finger and say you can't say that anymore, what do you think the internet's gonna do? Like, what were you born?
Again, that's why I think that they are a giant psyop where they manufacture anti-Semitism to raise money. I'm telling you, man, they do it on purpose.
Yesterday, this is only going to proliferate the amount of people saying this stuff. It's a complete and utter backfire entirely. And
you know what you call a girl that goes out with a third world illegal immigrant? A goy socket.
At the end of the day, the fact that...
You know what happens when the Jews turn on their weather machines? They create goy-nados. It's diabolical. Stay away from the goy-nados. You don't want to be anywhere near that.
They hid Shu's reply.
You know what happens when a communist wins an election? A communist, retarded Islamist wins an election in New York? That's what we call a goy-apocalypse.
That they were so shooketh from what she said really tells me that they don't really stand on their business. And again, I find it to be very interesting that a group like this exists that gets to decide whether or not something has now become problematic. I think there's a lot of implications from that, and in no way is it bigoted to criticize those decisions and the organization making it, despite
obviously not. Obviously, it's a nothing burger. And you know the craziest thing? You know, the ADL, at the end of the year, they're going to compile all their favorite anti-Semites, and they're going to list Shoe on Head or something, and it's so sad. It's like, you create your biggest enemies. You know, it's insane.
But I'm sure they, and probably the media, and also a lot of the progressive people will try to convince you of otherwise. That is perfectly within your right to criticize decisions like this. But anyways, that's going to do it for this situation. If you enjoy...
Yeah, someone needs to zap the ADL with the Goy Beam immediately. Like, do it for the Jews. For the sake of the Jews, we're gonna zap the fucking... The Goy Cattle organization. It's gonna be insane. No one is gonna understand, but we're gonna do it for patriotic purposes only. Yeah, no, I think what a hilarious and nightmarish situation all at the same time. Anyway, that was a deep dive on all of the things. Thanks for being here. We do a deep dive every day, hopefully, on all of the things. Not promising for daily, but hopefully at least like 4 or 5 times a week. 2-hour deep dive on all the crazy things. The movie. Subscribe if you could watch me on stream. I stream at kick.com/Nuxanor. I'm trying for 5 streams a week. 3 p.m. EST. All right, it's noon PST. That's like, I don't know, 9 o'clock if you're in Europe, unfortunately. No one's perfect. And thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you guys. Big kisses to everybody. Subscribe. YouTube doesn't pay me, so any support you could show would be very appreciated. Hell yeah. See you in the next one. Bye.